Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And a little late today, but we're here after the Ole Miss win. Landon Schmidt producing for us. Ole Miss, a big win for them at the last second. Sean Padula, 3 to secure the win for Ole Miss. They stay alive, and they'll move on to the next round where they will meet Auburn. We'll talk a lot about that. We'll talk about the SEC tournament. The Tigers know who they'll play tomorrow for their first game of the conference tournament. Grizzlies, they got a big win last night over the Utah Jazz. So a lot to get to over these next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. You said it yesterday. I said a week or so ago it's always San Antonio. Yesterday you said it was always Wichita.
Sure
it does feel like that for the Tigers. They now know their opponent, the Wheat Shockers from the old Missouri Valley days, and they'll get after it tomorrow around noon. The noon games today were really good, and you heard one here all afternoon. That was March Madness. That was a instant classic. And Sean Purdue, a shooter shoot, don't they? Really hadn't. I guess that corner three, a few possessions before that, that I think they drew up for him to try that one. That wasn't real close.
No.
A lot of them all day had not even. I mean, if you were getting points playing against your big brother for just drawing iron, you might have got a few points. He couldn't do anything, and then string music in downtown Nashville to win the game and avoid overtime. And I don't know that win did that much for the Ole Miss profile, and I don't think it hurt Arkansas's profile. But you flip it. If Arkansas had won, you could have seen them possibly move into kind of the Ole Miss spot in that 6, 7, 8 range, and Ole Miss go to where Arkansas, where they are in a lot of places at the kind of 9 or 10. So I think it probably just kept Ole Miss about where they are. Jerry Palm is still really, really bullish on Ole Miss. I think he has Ole Miss as a 5 seed. He does.
Wow.
I just candidly, I don't think they are a 5 seed. I don't think they are in come Sunday on the bracket. I don't think they are in performance in reality.
Yeah.
But he does, and he knows more about it than I do. And they've been tough to place for some. Shelby Mass has them as a 6, and Joe Lenardi has Ole Miss as a 7. So kind of like the Tigers. Hit every bingo card.
Yeah, kind of just all over the place. Joe Lenardi on one of the games yesterday kind of talking about the different teams and said Gonzaga and Memphis felt like the 2 toughest teams to project just because, and kind of complete 180s of each other. You've got Gonzaga, who doesn't have a great resume, but they are so high in all of the advanced metrics. But then on the other side, Tigers a great resume, but the numbers just aren't there. And so, he said those are the 2 that he's the most intrigued about kind of where they land. And certainly here in Memphis, everybody kind of wondering, that's been really the hot topic all week, is where is this team that, has 6 quad 1 wins, had such a great non-conference, did a really nice job in conference play. Where is that type of team going to land on Selection Sunday?
And Brian, I promise you, I would say it if everything's reversed, whether it's the football committee or the basketball committee, at some point, I want someone to say, look, these numbers, these metrics, it's great we have them. It's a great tool. But let's talk about performance. Let's talk about actual results. Let's talk about play. Let's don't turn sports into a debate society. We've got empirical data on Memphis and Missouri.
Yep.
We got it on Memphis and Ole Miss. We've got the information. We've got something called playing a 40-minute game. And in football, no, just because somebody has 11 and you only have 9 or 10, that does not make them better.
Right.
Let's say me and you went and played golf today, and I beat you. Well, great. But if I played against Sean McKeel, how would it be?
Right, yeah. It'd be a lot different.
It'd be a lot different. Yeah. And you got to we got to have an infusion of common sense in these committees.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely make the argument that they're going way too much into the metrics and the analytics and looking at that, and I wish they would get a little bit more towards the actual resume and those actual games. But I've said it a lot. I think it's going to be the test case of kind of where the committee is right now, because you have some people that say, well, the committee's moving back to looking more at the resume. You have other people that say, well, no, the committee is definitely going more into the analytics and into the numbers. Some are saying, yeah, they're just kind of in the middle. They do a good job at using both. We're going to find out on Sunday really which side of the coin they're on, because Memphis and Gonzaga, those are going to do a good job of telling you where they're at.
And there's Gonzaga, and I don't think there's anything nefarious. I don't. No. I don't think it's the committee, liking someone more than preferring them more than the other one. But their tool, their big metric, the net, Gonzaga an 8.
Yeah. I think KenPom they're a 9. Maybe they've moved up one in the last couple of days, but so they're right around. I mean, in that exact same neighborhood in the net and in KenPom. We know. I mean, those are basically the same exact metrics that they're using to get those numbers. And so, no, I mean, nothing. There's no conspiracy theory. There's nothing behind of why Gonzaga is so high. But it just comes down to Gonzaga, the wins that they have. They're going out and they're putting up good numbers against opposing teams, and they really don't have any bad losses, and so when you put all that together, you get a top 10 metric team, and then kind of on the other side, when you look at a team like the Tigers, they had all those wins early. You take a couple bad losses, and it just absolutely tanks you. You're in a conference that's not very good. It's going to tank you.
All right, real quick, pick a bracketologist out. Yeah. Any of the ones we talk about, okay. and we're going to go with if they're right.
All right. Let's go with our friend Shelby. Why not?
Okay, we'll go with Shelby Mass at bracketwag.com. He'll be with us on Monday, and he has Ole Miss as a 6 seed that would be playing the winner of Indiana-Colorado State. Do they beat the winner of Indiana-Colorado State?
Yeah, if either of those teams make it.
I think so, too. They have Memphis as a 7 opening against Vandy. Would the Tigers beat Vandy?
I think so.
I think by 15. Yeah, I said it.
Wow.
Arkansas, they have Arkansas as an 11, so they would be playing the 6 BYU.
Nah, they're not beating BYU.
I don't think so either. That's the toughest one, and I did this to set it up with the right first round matchup. Arkansas can win a game.
Sure, yeah.
And then as the 7, then against a St. John's as a 2, I say bring it on, and nothing would perk Calipari up like playing Rick Pitino.
Well, that is the thing.
It would be all chips in the middle of the table.
You look at that on paper and you go, ooh, yeah, I don't love that. St. John's really good. But then if you look at those two head coaches, that changes things a ton, because definitely no love lost between those two.
And you saw it today. I said it a week or 2 weeks ago. Billy Richmond's giving Arkansas great minutes and a big lift. He's earned more playing time. He is a much better player now than even 1st of February.
Yeah, and obviously a lot more opportunity for him, and I think he's capitalized on it. I think that has turned into a lot of momentum for himself and confidence, and he's really taking advantage of the opportunity. So we'll talk a lot about what happened in that Arkansas-Ole Miss game. We'll talk about
biggest news of the day, the injury.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Cooper Flagg goes down with an injury against Georgia Tech today. Really big news. Sounds like x-rays were negative, so that is definitely a good sign for him.
Well, and Duke's got to play a little bit of rope-a-dope with it, because they don't want the Kenyon Martin treatment on seeding.
Yeah, well,
with the injured player stuff.
That is true. Personally, I wouldn't play him until the round of 32 at the very least. I wouldn't touch him going out there at all. I'd sit him on the bench, and I'd say maybe when we get to the round of 32, you're back out there.
You know what also came back on that Charlotte Hornet X-ray machine?
What's that?
You know what they got back? The chance of the Dukies and the Brotherhood getting him back for next year, no shot now.
No, yeah,
because you cannot risk that.
Yeah, that all got ended immediately with that scare. And hey, maybe Charlotte, they do some more X-rays on him, do some more work on him. They'll have a good little report for come draft time if they're picking high enough. So we'll talk a lot about all the college basketball that's taking place today. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30. We'll talk a lot about the Grizzlies, their win last night over the Utah Jazz. We talked about it last week. The opportunity was there to go on a 4-game win streak following the 4-game losing streak. The Grizzlies were able to do just that. 4 straight wins. Now a tough one tomorrow night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But we'll talk about the Grizzlies and their win last night over Utah in our next segment. 3:45, we'll talk about the SEC tournament. Obviously started with the Ole Miss win over Arkansas. Texas A&M and Texas are in action right now. We'll talk about that game and what's coming up later in the day in the SEC. 4 o'clock, Rob Fisher from FanDuel Sports Network. He'll join us. We'll talk a lot of Grizzlies. We'll also talk the NBA with Rob. A lot about the 4-game win streak last night. Luke Kennard was on fire. He was great last night, 30-piece, so we'll get to that with Rob. 4:30, we'll do a college basketball roundup, all the games going on, the games that have finished, the games that are in progress, the games coming up. We'll talk about all of them at 4:30. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston will join us to talk Tigers. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's their first ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event going on now at Family Leisure. Pools from $19.99, spas from $29.99, cold plunge and swim spas are priced to move, and patio furniture sets starting at $799. Stop by today and sign up to register to win either a free pool, spa, or patio set only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Brian. I'm Brett. We're produced by Landon Schmidt. We are Sportstime, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. Sorry for the little bit of delay getting on with the game that ran long. It was a rapid pace game for the first 35 minutes, and then it bogged down, didn't it, Brian?
Sure did. It absolutely did.
It did. We want you to join us on our Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line, 901-360-8255. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. As Bryant said, we're always proudly in our Family Leisure Studios, and this hour always brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. They're at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is Memphis's opponent for their first game in the AAC tournament. It's set. They'll face off against Wichita State tomorrow at noon. Wichita earlier today, they got the win over USF. It was a close game, back and forth. Wichita State led by 10 points at half, but South Florida comes out, outscores them 40-35 in the second half. Made it tricky a couple times in the second half for Wichita State to try to pull away. Ultimately, they were able to do that and pull off the win. They shot 42.9% from 3 in the win today. And Bijan Cortez, he had 20, while Corey Washington, who is high on my list for potential next year Memphis Tigers from the American, Corey Washington led the team with 21 points and 9 rebounds. Now they'll play the Tigers tomorrow afternoon. We know what this series has looked like so far this season. Memphis is 1-1 against Wichita State, and you go back to last year, the Shockers were the team that knocked Memphis out of the tournament a year ago. The first meeting, it came down to turnovers this year. Memphis finished with 22 turnovers, 14 of those in the first half, able to limit them down the stretch and able to go on a 12-2 run over the final 4:30 to secure that 8-point win. But then in the second game, we know it ended with a loss, and that one also had turnovers play big-time roles. We had the couple late turnovers, one that was huge to give Wichita State the ball back for them to tie it and send it into overtime. But I think the big guy to watch tomorrow is the big guy, Dane Danger. In game one, Dane Danger came off the bench, finished with 3 points, 8 rebounds, 5 turnovers, and 4 fouls in 28 minutes of action. Game two, Danger started, but only finished with 4 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, a block shot, 2 turnovers, and 2 fouls in 20 minutes. You're going to need a big game from Dane Danger. In that second game, I will say Musa Cisse had a really nice game and definitely helped out with Dane Danger struggling. It's been an issue for him against Quincy Ballard, who in the first game recorded a double-double, in the second game 19 and 7. So I think the big man matchup is going to be the key for tomorrow's game. But the Tigers come in as the number 1 seed. I'll be curious. Hopefully we'll get it later in the show, certainly at some point tonight, what that line will open for tomorrow's game.
My top story is Duke won the game. They won the battle, but they may have lost the war today with Cooper Flagg out. Said reading now, it says long shot for ACC semis after ankle injury. You said you would hold him out until the round of 32.
At least, yeah.
There's no way they lose before that without him.
No,
is it?
No. I mean, ACC tournament doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to win the conference, whatever, but it doesn't matter. You're going to be a number 1 seed, and you're going to play a 16. This team is good enough without Cooper Flagg to win over a 16. I say at the very least, hold him out until the round of 32.
I really do. I hope he's okay. I hope he can have a great NCAA tournament. But this is how quickly it can change. Mm-hmm. Look how quickly it's changed in the Grizzlies world with the whole dynamic.
Yep.
But things can change in a hurry, especially with the injury. Now, if he re-injured it or he just wasn't, he was 60% and just really gimpy.
Yep.
Around the Sweet 16, they might could get knocked out. They sure could at any point after that. Also, the rest of the afternoon, it was terrific ball around the country. In Nashville with the last-second win, but other games as well. True or false? You saw where St. Bonnie played Duquesne earlier today, right?
I had money on it.
Did you win cash?
Sure did.
Way to go. True or false? Those two teams today, St. Bonnie or Duquesne, both have been to a Final Four in their basketball histories.
Oh, very true, Brett. Very true.
Landon?
I'm going to agree with that.
Very true.
Let's
Way to go.
How about that? A little group vlog to start the show.
Group block on true false on Final Four.
I love it.
Yes, they have.
Wow, it's been a good day of basketball so far.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day, it's the Grizzlies and their win last night over the Jazz. It hasn't been easy by any means, but it is 4 wins in a row for a team that was on a 4-game losing streak. I understand. I've seen the stories out there. I've seen people talking about what does this really mean when they're only winning these games by, a couple points? It's gone down to the stretch. These are supposed to be games that they should win easily. I agree with that. I completely understand, a team that has 15 wins, you would love to see a team like the Grizzlies go out there and beat them by 15 points or 20 points. But a week ago, we were talking about what is the future of this team the rest of the season. Can they even have a protected spot in the playoffs, or will they be in the play-in because of how bad they're playing and them with the injury of Jaren Jackson Jr.? I think right now, let's just worry about winning games. You got 4 wins in a row. Tomorrow night's going to be tough against the Cleveland Cavaliers, but you enter that game with confidence on this 4-game win streak. Luke Kennard, he was the star of the show last night. 30 points in 31 minutes off the bench. He knocked down 7 3-pointers in that game last night, and hey, guess who's back? Ja Morant, 4 for 7 from 3 last night and had a massive one. Yeah, they sure did. And he was knocking down. Well, I
went to an NBA game and a 1-3-1 zone broke out.
I felt like it was coming. I didn't want to say anything, but I wasn't surprised when I saw it out there. But he knocked down a huge one late in that game to secure the win for the Grizzlies. So another good win. Now 42-24 on the season, but it's going to be a tough one tomorrow night against the Cavs.
My not top story, also, this is my not top story. Did you notice the great TV time today? John Harden's daughter got cheering at Ole Miss.
I did. I don't know if I'd recognize her if I saw her. I've only met her a couple times.
She got great TV time. show her and show the cheerleaders a lot more than the camera shot on the announce team, because right behind the announce team is sitting John Hollinger by Pat Forty, the twin towers of dip stuffery.
I was about to say, Brett, your two favorite people.
Which really two of my all-time favorites, isn't it?
It sure is.
Oh, my goodness. Wanted to pull a Elvis on my TV when I saw both of them. My not top story, it's hard for me to pull for Wake Forest and anything when they back out of a return game in football during a game when you've already traveled to them, as happened last fall. But the idea of Carolina being in the tournament, it's no chance they're in the tournament, is it?
I wouldn't say no chance. I hope
1-11 quad one.
Yep. And
Texas should be in ahead of North Carolina.
And playing in a bad ACC this year.
Historically bad ACC.
Yes. And, didn't do great in that either. So, I don't know. It's going to be, one of the worst bubbles we've seen in a really long time. And it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out over these next couple of days, and then certainly on Selection Sunday. Well, that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're going to talk more about the Grizzlies and their win over Utah. That's next on Sports Time.
Driving range is a good place to be. At Putt Putt Driving Range, $10 get you a small bucket of balls, use of the chin and putting greens, and Tom Tracer. Even senior rates available. Putt Putt Golf and Games Driving Range. 54 Putt Putt Driving Range, 901-386-2992. Putt Putt Driving Range. It's Putt Putt time.
What happens to former real estate agents when they want to sell their homes? It's the Sheldon Rosenberg Ashley Shell Run with Mark Spencer Realtors. I am so proud and feel so honored that former real estate agents contact me when they want to sell their homes. They know that I've been in the business for quite a while, have a great deal of experience, and know that I am good at marketing, not merely putting a sign in the yard and looking at sales. Over the years, I have developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and win. Talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure that I am one of them. So if you or somebody you know is thinking about selling a home, remember what other real estate agents who have been in the business do. Then call me, Sheldon Rosenberg, at 483-0546, or email me at memphisrelocate.com. I will wait to hear from you to take advantage of this good market. That's 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Thank you.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time somebody has recognized me as the spokesperson for Central Barbecue,
One of the spokespeople,
I wouldn't have a nickel because we do these for the radio. But I'm proud to be the spokesperson for Central Barbecue.
One of the...
You know what I mean? I'm proud because all of us who do this have had to do ads for things we didn't necessarily believe in.
Yeah, I know I have.
I know you have too.
Hey.
But we get to tell everyone about Central Barbecue, the best barbecue in Memphis.
In the world.
Hey, Mid-South, get ready for your next adventure during the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. Lead Gossett. $199 a month or buy for $16,605. Gets 43 MPG. Need more room? Take your pick from 2024 Outlander plug-in hybrid PHEV or 2024 Outlander. Just $399 a month. And listen up, because all remaining new 2024 Gossett Mitsubishis are now $2,000 off MSRP. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get ready for your next adventure during the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett
18605, PHED, RZO 59821, MSRP 489, Outlander RZO 67325, MSRP 33210, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Sports56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Trying to clean up that nasty wreck we had earlier involving a couple of trucks on 55 northbound at South Parkway. It's been pretty slow over there now for about 45 minutes, maybe coming up on an hour on 55 northbound at South Parkway in the cleanup stages of that earlier crash as it builds, already leaving Midtown on 240 South at South Parkway down past Norris. Still moving 240 onto 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. If your lawn needs some help, call Lawn Solutions right now. They've been around for over 30 years and they are affordable. Call Lawn Solutions 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, let's start sports with Brian Davis.
Well, the Grizzlies were winners last night, 122-115 over the Utah Jazz. It was the Luke Kennard game, 30 points for him, 7 for 9 from 3. Ja Morant also had a really nice game, 28 points for him, 7 assists, went 4 for 7 from 3. And, this is a game that I think got a little scary at times against this Utah team that has really struggled. It was headband night for the Utah Jazz. Everybody on the team wearing white headbands, which I didn't really understand. But whatever. I think even the broadcast crew, when they started the game.
Their local did. I saw Thurl Bailey, and he was part of. And I told him, I said, I think about NC State every March, and he said, I think about it every day.
Oh, man. That's
that
awesome.
last night.
That is awesome. Yeah, no. So kind of weird. I didn't really understand it, but whatever. Have your headband night. Okay. That's great. Cool. But a good win
Pack
for the
your
Grizzlies
own motivation.
last night. Sure, I guess, if that's what you got to do.
And the zany 1-3-1 zone. I said out loud, and I know it's legal now, but I'm old, and it was illegal for so long. I went, they're in a zone.
They can't do that.
What are you doing?
Yeah, you don't see it much, but
we don't see any zone against the Grizzlies against a playoff team, do we?
Nah, well, I don't think so, because I think Ja gets, maybe last night was the confidence for Ja to kind of get out there, and certainly with Jaren back, that will change things. But right now I think you just throw it at them, especially the Jazz. Jazz aren't playing for anything. They're playing to lose, honestly.
They had a couple of different zones. They had a matchup zone. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they ever went 2-1-2, but they had some 1-2-2.
Yeah,
had the 1-3. They had about every zone.
Yeah.
that Boeheim's ever had.
Well, and certainly right now, especially with Jaren out, Ja's so deadly when he can get to the basket, when he can, get inside and dish it out. And so, I think, try to eliminate that, like you said earlier, force him to take threes, and he took 7 of them last night. Now, he was making them, so it was a little better. So I don't think you see that very often, but, I could see it 1 or 2 more times. I wouldn't be surprised.
It was freaky. That was like Dale Brown's freak defense in the '86 Final Four. He went on when he had Don Redden kind of playing not a boxing one, but like 2 guys would play zone and the other 3 would play man to man. It was called freak defense for a reason. The Grizzlies great win last night. They needed these wins. It's changed the whole dynamic of around town and in the building and with conversation. That's what winning will do for you. And we know now the winning season's for assured, but they want a lot more. It gets tougher Friday night. But this Dallas, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Utah stretch, it had to be 4 wins, and it was. And 2 of them, the first and the most recent, by 122 to 111.
Yeah, yes.
Same scores.
It was but all 4 of those games were really close. Even against Dallas and Utah, they were not easy. Dallas, there were a couple times where you thought maybe they'd pull away and win that game. Same thing. I never really thought it last night against Utah. It felt like at some point they would fold, but they kept it close for most of that game.
It's been awkward moments.
It has been.
look, like we are now in college basketball, we're not completely at this point in the NBA. We're getting really close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just win.
Yeah, just win. And so, I mean, all 4 of these games, I think.
There's not the Romanian judge over there scoring.
No, exactly. And that's what, I mentioned it with my not top story. I've seen the stories out there today and people talking about it today all over the place of, okay, well, you won, but, you're not winning them, dominantly or showing that you're by far the better team against, some of these teams that are just really bad teams.
Some of those losses were just losses.
Sure.
Atlanta was just a loss.
Yeah.
San Antonio was just a loss, wasn't it?
Well, San Antonio might have been a little more than just a loss. That was
because of the lineups.
Yeah, that felt like a lot more than just a loss.
Where's that? Bryant, that's going to be my seed line game I go to.
Yep, I know it is. I
hope I don't have to.
I hope you don't either, but if you do, that's going to be the one.
Last night for Luke Kennard, really his best catch and shoot, ball coming out of his hand, really good since late January.
Yeah, since right there before the trade deadline, because that was kind of the talk. Is wow, he's really shooting the ball well before the trade deadline, and then after the trade deadline, he's kind of struggled a little bit. But no, you needed that last night from him, and it was good to see. So.
Ball movement was good.
Yeah, no, I mean it was a good game for the Grizzlies, and. Like you said, it got a little awkward at times, but right now I think you just win and you wait until you get back to being healthy, which hopefully in a week or two you're back to being healthy, and that's really when you can start going out there and really trying to put it on some teams to try to get ready for what will be a playoff push. But we're starting to get late in the season. It's the games are winding down.
Got a little feisty, and it's that time of year too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it either way. The other team want to get feisty, that's fine. Had it with Kevin Durant, had it a little bit last night with Colin Sexton, and I thought on the way up, he caught John in the wrong spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those
John
things.
Took offense at it.
Of course, you're always gonna take offense to that when that happens, and that happens a lot where something like that happens, and you have a little bit, but nothing really there. So I was glad, because you're right, that could have gotten a little out there, but no, a win for the Grizzlies I think right now is a win, and so now you get ready for what this weekend will be. Friday.
Now back in the 2.
Yeah. So I mean,
now this is weird though. All I go by is the all important loss column.
That's right.
We got new math there. We got Grizzlies. So this is when the win column actually matters.
Mm-hmm.
Grizzlies 42-24 in second. Denver 42-24 in third, tiebreak at play. Los Angeles 40-23.
Yep.
In fourth. This is new math.
Mm-hmm.
It'll work out, I promise you.
Oh, it will all work out. But it does feel nice to see the Grizzlies back in that 2 spot. And now tomorrow night you've got Cleveland, and then the next night, Saturday night, Miami, and that will be the Tony Allen retirement game. So I know that will be a great environment. A lot of people will be there. It will be a lot of energy with everything going on around Tony Allen.
Yep, that'll be 3 parts, the core 4, and whenever Mike Conley retires and they want to set the date, we know the 4th will go up.
Oh yeah, very easy, and I loved it. Pete Pranico on earlier this morning with Dave, and Dave kind of asked me, what's your favorite story? What when it comes to Tony Allen, and that'll be a question we can ask Rob here at 4:00. And
Rob was there when it was Grit and Grind was born.
Oh, he absolutely
it was his question.
You're right, and so I'm excited to ask him. But Pete Pranica told a story about one of the officials. I can't remember which one that he saw a couple years ago, and they were talking, and somehow Tony Allen got brought up, and that this official said that whenever Tony Allen would introduce himself to an official, he would not introduce himself as, "Hey, I'm Tony Allen." He'd say, "Hey, I'm first team all defense," and that's how he would introduce himself to officials. Just so that, and then that he would also go to the scores table a lot and make sure that they were crediting him with steals. That if there was a steal and maybe it was a little bit of a question of who really got the steal, he'd go in there and go, "That was my steal. I got that steal. That's me."
Well, that mattered financially.
Sure did. That was big for him.
To make those teams and to get those awards, that I'm sure he was properly bonus for it. And the acquisition to bring him here from world champion Boston, and Chris Wallace knew him well, and with Glenn Cyprian to get Tony to come here, that was core part of the core four.
Sure was, and one that I think maybe got a little overlooked at first. Okay, Tony Allen, and then he was absolutely massive. And so I know right now there's a documentary out there on the Memphis Grizzlies YouTube page. I've not been able to see it yet. Hopefully before Saturday night I'll be able to see it. And then this morning, I should say this morning, Tony Allen on with the guys on the morning show, Greg and Eli, and a really good interview there. That's up on featured audio. If you missed it, go back and listen to that, because obviously Saturday going to be a big night for Tony Allen.
Yeah, Tony's going to be on a lot of stuff on the documentary that featured by the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
I would imagine he's going to be in that big Celtics documentary about to come out.
Oh yeah, I bet.
On the history of the Celtics. Mm-hmm. He was there when a banner went up.
That's right. Yeah, I mean he was part of that. So definitely a good time for Tony Allen, and should be a lot of fun. But we definitely will. We'll ask Rob Fisher his best memories of Tony Allen with that retirement. That will be another game that will be on Channel 5. I watched it on Channel 5 last night, Brett. I flipped it over.
Channel 5 debut last night.
It was funny because. And my mom loves the Grizzlies, big Grizzlies fan, and so I'm sitting out back and I'm watching it, and she comes out and she goes, "My show's not on." And I go, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "My show. Why is the Grizzlies game on Channel 5? My show's not on." And so I think it was Chicago Fire, she wanted to watch, and it wasn't on because I go, "I know for a fact Darian's getting calls right now about where is my show right now."
Brian, a long time ago, and one of the few times I was on the outs with 560 right here, I was at 790, and on Monday was the full 18-hole playoff for the United States Open in golf.
Yeah.
Like teed off like at 1 o'clock.
Sure.
And your little mailbox was upstairs. So to go upstairs and back when we got mail.
That's right.
Old-fashioned snail mail. So I go up to check my little box. And I mean, good afternoon, Action News 5. Good afternoon, Action News. One after another, every 70-year-old lady in Memphis was called, "Where's my soap operas? Why is this darn golf on?"
Oh, that is great. I believe. Yeah, Darren and I talk about it a lot, about when stuff like that happens, whether it's weather or something, game on instead. It's every
phones
time.
melted.
Oh, yeah. Oh, every single time. So I thought that was funny. I can't wait to see Darian and ask him about that. But let's go ahead and get to another break. When we come back, we talked about the Arkansas and Ole Miss game. Ole Miss gets the big win. Right now, Texas and Texas A&M playing. We'll talk about the SEC tournament, what's happened already, and the games that are coming up later tonight. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
All aboard, football fans! The Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the Boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
The first ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure for the first time ever. Unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Route 40. Family and fun come together.
Welcome to Fat Larry's in Bartlett. Come in today for award-winning barbecue and so much more. Catfish, steak burgers, chicken, certified prime Angus beef steaks, along with all the sides, homemade rolls, delicious desserts, beer, and service that is out of this world. Fat Larry's cooks everything made to order just for you. Dine in or order online at fatlarrys.com. We're the best barbecue, southern cooking, and friendly atmosphere in town. Family owned and proud of it. Fat Larry's, conveniently located at 7537 Highway 70, just west of Appling.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for a loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's on Highway 64 in Marlin, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Randy, I've got 2025 Jetta SE at $269 a month. 2025 Jetta SE, $269 a month. What else you got? How about a new 2023 Taos SE, only $26,998?
Under $27,000 for a brand new Taos SE. That's awesome.
Plus all 2024 Volkswagen Atlas SELT edition and all 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport SELR lines, $5,000 off.
Well, I'm coming to see you in Gossett, Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, online, GossipBWG.com. Ask for Marty McMahon.
And remember, the future is what you make of it.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Cars. Here are your hosts, Let's Talk Sports with Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We talked a lot of basketball, but we got to take a look at the SEC tournament up in Nashville. We talked a ton about the games that happened yesterday. One-game finals, the game you heard right here on Sports56. Ole Miss in dramatic fashion, an 83-80 win over Arkansas. Sean Padula knocks down the three as time was about to expire to give them the 3-point win. Right now, Texas a 33-27 lead over Texas A&M. That game currently at half. Later, 6 o'clock, we'll have Mississippi State, Missouri on SEC Network. Right now, Missouri a 3.5-point favorite. And then the final game of the night, OU and Kentucky. That game scheduled for 8:30. Kentucky right now a 6.5-point favorite. Some good games so far today in the SEC.
Yeah, the last game last night was really good.
Yeah, really good game.
That was a fun game between OU and Georgia. I think that takes care of OU enough for them to be in the field of 68.
Yeah.
And I think it probably does enough to keep them out of Dayton. And we started the show with, I don't know how much that improves Ole Miss or how much it would hurt Arkansas, but it was a classic game. I'm watching the replay now. Padua's shot. He had it was a hand in the face.
Yeah.
And then the Billy Richmond miss.
Yeah.
All but banked it in.
Yeah.
It drew bank shot iron.
Yeah, no, it was not a bad look at all. And Sean Padula, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. 0 for 6 from 3 going into that shot. Shoot. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Ole Miss brought him in, to be a 3-point shooter, to knock down big-time shots. And he had the opportunity, wasn't scared of the moment, and knocked it down. He finished with 10 points, 3 rebounds. So, yeah, I mean, it was a weird game. You know, it was a game where Ole Miss takes the lead into the half. It really, controlled the first half. And then out of the second half, Arkansas brings the fire. They bring a lot of intensity. They
really
go
started
out there.
a little before halftime.
Yeah.
Arkansas did.
Sure did. And
got the margin to 10.
Yeah, that's right. And so, they really came out in that second half and was really putting it on Ole Miss there for a while. And then, right around 7 or 8 minute mark, Ole Miss kind of was able to turn things around, and then it became, a back and forth game down the stretch. Arkansas, had an opportunity to go up 2. They had mentioned it on the broadcast that everybody on the court was either in the high 70s or in the 80s in terms of three-point shooting percentage, except for Trayvon Brazile, who was the player that ended up going to the free throw line, missed both of them, giving Ole Miss the opportunity to go down and knock down the game-winning 3.
Again, you watch that replay in the next break.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Richmond didn't miss by much.
No.
It was a lot closer than I realized in real time, but it was a lot going on in real time. Most famous Arkansas half-court shot ever, U.S. Reed in the NCAA tournament against Louisville. Michael Katz, our friend at the Daily Journal down in Mississippi, we have on a lot. He tweeted out, by his count, there were a combined 15 runs of at least 5 straight points by either Ole Miss or Arkansas. That's a good ball game.
Yeah, no, I that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, it was one of those games, and so you look on Arkansas side, and they got into a little bit of foul trouble. Jonas Adu, he fouled out with probably about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe a little bit more left in the second half. Billy Richmond out there playing with 3 fouls. You also had Carter Knox and John L. Davis both with 3 fouls. So they got into a little bit of foul trouble there in the second half. But really good game, and I think you're right. I think with Arkansas winning yesterday, I think that did enough for them, even with the loss today and how competitive this game was. And then for Ole Miss, I don't think the win really did much for them, but it certainly beat the heck out of losing today's game and going out in the first round, having to wait till Sunday. So it's going to be fun to see kind of what Ole Miss can do now going up against the number 1 overall seed in a lot of people's eyes in Auburn.
Jake Thompson, Ole Miss beat writer for On 3, he tweeted, and just now you noticed, he tweeted, lost in this, and maybe the funnier aspect is the sea of Kentucky blue that was seated right behind the Arkansas bench, and they were on Cal all day, just going crazy when Padua hit the shot.
Oh, man.
Okay, that it goes with the territory.
Of course.
But if you for 1 second think Mark Pope's a better coach than John Calipari, you need your head checked.
Yeah, Mark Pope. Yeah, we'll see what he can do today against Oklahoma. But I didn't even notice that. I watched the entire game, and I did not notice the Kentucky fans sitting right there.
I did, and I saw the. I'm just guessing, just pure supposition on my part. Once Cal turned and looked at one, kind of like, that's enough.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah, and I saw Bruiser Flint jaw a little bit.
Yeah, and Bruiser, he got into it with the officials a little bit at the very
and
end of
he
the
did.
game. So
Bruiser Flint ought to just be happy he was his head coach.
Well, yeah, you're probably right about that. But we'll keep an eye on this second game. Texas on top of A&M right now, 33-27. You look at this game. Right now, Tech's not really shooting the ball very well, at least from 3. They're shooting 40% from the field, but on the other side, Texas A&M only shooting 33.3% from the field, 33.3% from 3, only 50% from the free throw line, 5 for 10. So we'll keep you updated on this game. Also, Texas out-rebounding Texas A&M. We know how good of a rebounding team Texas A&M is, so that'll be something to watch in this second half. We'll keep you updated on how that game goes, and we'll definitely let you know when we have a final. But we need to go ahead and wrap up this hour, get to a break, and when we come back, we're talking a whole lot of Grizzlies and the NBA with Rob Fisher.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't the only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable
Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Listen to this, Mid-South 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited. We Gossett 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We Gossett 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard 26,353. This is what deals are made of at Gossett Hyundai 1870 Covington Pike. Online, HyundaiGossett.com. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 25,160, Elantra RU 821,411, MSRP 28,780, Convenience SU 856,185, MSRP 27,020, Sonata RA 415,696, MSRP 29,110, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Corky's Barbecue. Cooking it up. Down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like a good old day.
Hey, y'all, Jimmy Stone over here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Millions of trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years. Because we make it easy to eat and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet, starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to book us for your next order.
Encore flavor. Corky's Barbecue.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church downtown Memphis.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's been a mess for a while over here on 55 northbound at South Parkway as MPD cleans up this accident. It was involving two trucks. It's been pretty slow up through here on 55 northbound at South Parkway. Give yourself a little extra time up through there until they can get this mess cleaned up. It's starting to pick up with more volume on 240 East from Mill Branch out to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. The Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 FM. Once again, Brett Roserly and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our second hour. And joining us now to talk some Grizzlies and the NBA, Rob Fisher from the FanDuel Sports Network joins us now. Well, Rob, last week we were all sitting here looking at a 4-game losing streak. Jaren Jackson goes down with an injury. He's listed as week to week. It felt like disaster all over the place, but now you bounce back from that with a 4-game win streak. It hadn't been an easy 4-game win streak, but 4 wins in a row. What have you seen from that losing streak to now this 4-game win streak?
I think we've seen a little bit better defense, a better moving on to the next play sort of defense, especially when the Grizzlies miss shots or even when they make shots, getting back. And, you know, they struggled with that a little bit last night against Utah, and then they got it corrected and were able to win the game. So I think the defense has been a little bit better. The numbers bear out that the defense is better, but obviously you look at the competition and, you know, it should have been better. So I don't think anything's fixed at this point. I talked to John Moran after the game Friday and asked him if he felt like it got a little better, and he said maybe a little, but we can't be satisfied. And I think that's kind of the attitude of the team right now is hey, we're just trying to go out and win every game right now, and that'll make us happy. But we're not satisfied with how we're playing. We can still get better.
And just stay really, really hungry. Rob, now 42-24 for the team. Preseason, my win total was 48. I think they're going to get that. I don't know what Vegas had it at. It was probably around that or close enough to it. But now back in the two spot in the West, it's going to be a rocky road down to where the final seedings land. But this has been a great year, and you know, me included, everybody freaked out.
Well, I mean, we get pretty emotional over every game, you know, and it's funny because when you talk to players and when you talk to coaches and when you're, you know, with this team every day, it's that mantra of don't get too high after wins, don't get too low after losses. Well, fans don't go by that. Mm-hmm. After losses, we feel our worst, and after wins, we feel our best. So it's not surprising that in a 4-game losing streak, you know, you want to point the finger at somebody. But to me, I mean, a lot of it has to do with Jaren Jackson Jr. was being out. A lot of it has to do with one of the games was against the best team in the NBA. I do think you made a mistake against San Antonio by dumping that game, by resting as many players as you did. And then you go into Atlanta, and because of losing that game in San Antonio, you know, you have the Jaren Jackson Jr. injury, and you lose that game. You know, now you've lost both of them, which, you know, you certainly didn't want to do at this point of the season. And then Oklahoma City, they're Oklahoma City. So, but this 4-game winning streak, it feels good. And, you know, the only thing better than winning is winning on the road. And the Grizzlies got 2 road wins, too. So I don't think that's anything to just, you know, scoff at or look at lightly. I think that's very important. And all wins are important this time of year. So it's stats. You've heard me say this for many years, but at this time of the year, come March, it's one game at a time, man. It's about winning that next one.
And a little bit like the college basketball mantra right now, win in advance. You know, I said earlier, there's not a Romanian judge sitting over there scoring the win. Just win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it doesn't matter if you're not covering the spread, and the Grizzlies haven't been doing that here recently, but they had some big spreads, some double-digit spreads 3 times in the last week and won all 3 games but didn't cover those games. But that doesn't matter right now. It matters to the betting public, but it doesn't matter for the Grizzlies. It's just about getting W's, and right now they're doing a good job, and they're doing what they've done for most of the season, and that's take care of teams that they should take care of.
Yeah, no, they absolutely have, and they've gotten big games from several different guys, including Cam Spencer the other night. The Cam Spencer game, what'd you make of the rookie? He's been dealing with injuries throughout the
Works
season.
all the time.
He was fantastic the other night. His numbers called, and he showed up.
Yeah, it was great to see. I mean, because you watch him work, and the worst thing that could have happened to Cam Spencer is an injury, because this kid, all he wants to do is be on the basketball floor. I mean, he lives basketball, and he lives for winning and hates losing. And this is a guy that just works and works and works. When you hear about guys being the first in the gym in the last league, the Cam Spencer epitomizes that. I mean, when the team goes through their warm-ups before a game, you know, every player has a slotted time to go warm up. And Cam Spencer warms up early. And when he's done, he just sits out there. And any chance that he gets that maybe there's a break between players warming up, he goes out there and he gets shots in. Ja's the last one to warm up. When Ja's done, Cam Spencer goes back out there and gets shots up. I mean, he is constantly just getting shots up, constantly working on his craft. And to see him rewarded with minutes the other night and to take full advantage of it was great to see.
He's first one back out there after halftime, too. And, look, I know it's professional basketball players shooting with nobody guarding them. He never misses. I mean, he doesn't even move the net.
No, I mean, pregame warm-ups, it's incredible. When you watch him, the streak that he'll go on making shots it's quite impressive. And you're right. I mean, warm-up shots for anybody are pretty easy, but this guy doesn't miss. And there's no rim. I mean, it's just pure net all the time. And it's impressive to watch. But, you know, you watch him do that, and it's funny because when he does miss a shot, he gets so angry with himself because he's such a competitor that it's pretty funny to watch.
If you get in a horse contest, take him.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. He'd probably be the first pick.
Yeah. No, yeah, he'd be my first pick. That is absolutely for sure. Speaking of shooting, John Morant had a good night shooting it from deep last night, but we've seen, over the last couple of weeks, he has really struggled shooting threes. Brett even brought it up earlier how the Jazz kind of went into a zone a couple times last night, and really when he had the ball on the perimeter, really daring him to shoot the three. What have you seen in terms of three-point shooting with John Morant?
I'm not concerned about it. I mean, yeah, he did go through a really rough stretch. I think it was 11 for 65 going into last night, which is like 18%. And then he hits 4 out of 7 last night. So that was good to see. I'm not concerned about it because even when he was 11 of 65, I bet 5 of them came in the fourth quarter and were huge. Huge. I mean, he had, I can't even remember the games anymore, but he had the one off-balance 3 that won the game. He had another 3 late that put the game away against, I guess it was New Orleans, put that game away. So when he's made them, they've been big. They've been in big situations. So I'm not worried about Josh shooting the 3. I think we'll see more nights like we saw last night than what we saw the previous 6-7 games.
For that 2 seed, I'm going to give you 2 teams, and which one will be the toughest to fend off? Will it be Denver or the Lakers?
Well, I guess it depends how long LeBron's out, because I think without LeBron, they're going to have a tough time winning games. Denver's been, I would probably say Denver, because they've been, since a rough start this season, they've been good, really good, I guess, to the point. And lately they've been good. They have the best player on the floor every time they take the floor. So I would probably say Denver is probably going to be the toughest one to fend off. They have such a great home court advantage as well. But their schedule's not easy. So, I don't know. The Grizzlies still have one in Denver, although it's a schedule loss. It's horrible. Grizzlies play in April. They have a game at home against Minnesota on a Thursday night at 8:45. 8:45.
Wow.
Which means we won't depart for Denver until at least midnight. And then the Denver airport is a good 40-minute ride from downtown Denver.
It's in Laramie, Wyoming.
Yeah. You're talking about getting in at 3 o'clock in the morning in Denver and then having to play in altitude that night and the time change. I mean, that's just a horrible scheduled situation. But Grizzlies will get their crack at them one more time. And, Denver's been they've been an interesting team this year. The Grizzlies saw them twice without Jokic and split that pair. So I think they'd be the toughest one to fend off at this point just because of Jokic.
Yeah.
I think you had that noted on the schedule release back in August on your artwork.
So.
I did, and I'm still angry about it because the same day that happened was the same day the commissioner said that when you play back-to-backs and especially you won't play back-to-backs when you're on national TV. Well, that's just flat out wrong.
That's right.
And it's been wrong 3 occasions for the Grizzlies this year where they've been on national TV and played a back-to-back. And so that was just a flat-out lie by the commissioner.
We've talked a little bit about Jaren and that injury. He goes out, ankle injury, is listed as week to week. But you see him there on the bench. He's engaged. He's bringing a lot of energy. He's up, moving around. What do you think about this injury, and what do you think about this kind of timetable for him?
I don't know anything, so this is just me speaking. But I think he'll be back sooner than later because of what you said. He's shooting around. He's getting some work in. He never wore a boot.
Yeah.
Never had a boot on. Even the next day, didn't have a boot on. He's been wearing his tennis shoes and moving around just fine. So, and I think Jaren wants to play in 65 games. It certainly would mean a lot to him and his potential earnings. So, I think that's important to him as well. And Jaren's a guy that he wants to be out there, and he wants to be out there every night. So, I don't think he's going to be out long. It's been a week and a half now, a little more than a week and a half. So I would assume we'd get an update maybe tomorrow, and hopefully we'll see him on that injury report move up here soon. But I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to linger into April.
Last night, Scottie Pippen always seems to make just a really crafty play. Had a couple steals last night. Can make a shot. his minutes are always really productive, Rob.
Yeah, and I wish he'd have more minutes. Brevin and I talk a lot about it on our podcast, Night Court, that, the Grizzlies, where they've struggled is turning the ball over and giving free points to the opposition. Well, one of the problems with the Grizzlies turning the ball over is you have a lot of guys who are being primary ball handlers who aren't primary ball handlers. And Scottie Pippen is. Mm-hmm. And I think having him in for more meaningful minutes, I think what we've seen the last couple of games, he's been in the role of backup point guard. And I think that's where he should be. Or I'd like to see him be, at least. Because I think the way the Grizzlies can get into the offense just moves a lot better when Scottie Pippen's there. I'd rather have Desmond Bane off the ball. I'd rather have Luke Kennard off the ball. And have a guy that can get them the ball in positions to score. Now, Dez has done a great job with his playmaking and what he's done on the ball. Luke's done a great job with his playmaking when he's on the ball. But I think sometimes you get a little too loose offensively, and it's because you don't have a primary ball handler, and Scotty's that guy. And, point guards are the smartest people on the floor, as any point guard would tell you. And I think Scotty's playing pretty well right now, and just running the offense and adding some scoring, too, when the Grizzlies need it.
Yeah.
Brevin tells you that, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Talking to Rob Fisher, he joins us from FanDuel Sports Network, talk Grizzlies and the NBA. Saturday, a big night for the Grizzlies. Tony Allen going to have his jersey retired post-game after the game against the Heat. I'm curious, for you, what is your favorite Tony Allen story?
Oh, man. Well, I guess one of my favorite stories is Tony Allen walking through the kids at Golden State while they were performing during a timeout. That was, the guy was just so focused in that didn't know what he was doing. That was hysterical. My favorite Tony Allen is a player moment, and I think it was a huge moment during the grit and grind era. It was a game in Dallas where the Grizzlies were getting beat at halftime. And the second half started, and Lionel Hollins did not start Tony Allen in the second half. And during a timeout, and I think it was big because Mark was kind of in one of his, let's just say, one of his moods at the same time. And during a timeout, Tony would kind of just, his head was just wandering off, which wasn't rare during timeouts, but they kind of needed Tony's focus at this point. And Lionel Hollins got off the seat and went over to Tony and said that I need you right now. You need to get your head in the game. If you got a problem with me, we'll deal with it after the game. And Tony just kind of looked at him like, Johnny Davis got up and was kind of scared like he was going to have to break the two up. And Tony Allen just kind of looked at him and said, okay. And Tony went out and had a great game the rest of the way. But the big thing from that, too, was Marc Gasol was kind of watching Lionel attack Tony in the way that he did. And Marc Gasol ended up going on a tear for the next, 6-7 games. And Zach Randolph hit the winner in that Dallas game. Grizzlies came back, got the win. And I thought it was a real big moment to kind of reel in Tony and reel in Marc Gasol at the same time in one moment in Dallas. And then the other guy, Zebo, hits the big game winner, and Grizzlies got that win, and they went on a run after that.
Yeah.
And after Saturday night, 3 of the 4, the core 4, all the jerseys will be hanging at FedEx Forum, and we know Mike Conley on the way. Rob, it was just a magical time. It was so much fun, and I feel like we're on the verge of magical times over these next 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think so. That's certainly the hope and the goal for this team and them being as young as they are. And, for the Grizzlies, at least that stretch of a team, they go to the playoffs and they beat the number 1 seed. But, even going into the playoffs and having to go on the road in San Antonio, there were no expectations for that team. So when they came home from San Antonio, there was so much excitement. And then winning that series and moving on to the next series, the excitement in the building and just the energy of FedEx Forum was just, it's incredible to think of those playoff times and how much fun it's
down there. You just
can't wait. It's the air conditions a little colder. It's sunny outside and it's hot. And we
had the 500-year flood one year in 2011.
Yeah, we did. So, those are amazing times. And I think it's going to be interesting, when this team gets to the playoffs this year, it's not a no expectation year. It's an expecting to get out of the first round year at least. And so it'll be interesting to see, how the building is and how electric the building is. And we hope we can recapture those years that we had with that era, because there's nothing better than playoff basketball at FedEx Forum.
Rob, Friday night, tomorrow night, against the Cleveland Cavaliers, I have said, and boy, I'm alone, I think Cleveland right now would beat Oklahoma City in a 7-game series in the NBA Finals. But tomorrow night, I know how much you love the college basketball quad. That would be a quad 1 win for the Grizzlies tomorrow night, wouldn't it?
It would definitely be a quad 1 win for the Grizzlies tomorrow night. It's going to be tough. I mean, you're going to be a big underdog tomorrow night. That's just the reality of it. And without Jaren Jackson Jr., it's going to be very difficult. I mean, with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and not having Jaren's going to make it very tough. So it's going to be a tough battle. But
do you play small ball?
I don't know. Probably not. I mean, Zach Edey will play, and who else do you put out there at the 4? Do you run Gigi out there again for a third straight game, or do you put Marvin Bagley out there, or does Jay Huff get a start? I don't know. I don't know what the Grizzlies will decide to do tomorrow night. And I assume I haven't seen the injury list yet, but I assume Santi might still be out with that calf soreness. Although he told me the other night he's feeling a lot better, so maybe he won't. But that'd be a big help. But yeah, it's going to be tough, man. They're really good. I mean, they're really good offensively. They're really good defensively. I mean, there's a reason why they've only lost 10 games this season, and they've had 2 15-game winning streaks. This is not going to be an easy task. And I keep hearing people say, "Oh, well, this will be a good test for you. This will show where you're at." I don't know, because they've shown where everybody's at all season long, and that's behind them. That's how good they have been. So it's going to be tough. It'll be a tough test. And without Jaren, it'll be even tougher. But, hey, play scrappy, play good defense, possession at a time, and let's go out and play.
And it's a lot more fun on March 13th this year than last year, isn't it?
Well, you got that right. I mean, just thinking of the lineups and thinking of the guys that were playing, and just thinking of how many nights we went to the postgame show and talked about, well, they played hard. Mm-hmm. And now actually to talk about wins is it's much more enjoyable. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see how this season ends. Rob, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and let's do it again soon.
Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Go Grizz.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. Go Grizz for sure. Thank you so much. Rob Fisher with us from FanDuel Sports Network and Action News 5, Channel 5 last night.
Yes.
I wonder if he noticed any difference last night.
It's a good question. I doubt it, but
and I wasn't able to watch. Did they pre or post acknowledge, statewide and on West Tennessee on Channel 5, Central and Eastern Tennessee as well?
I didn't get there early enough to see when they started pregame, so I don't know. I'm sure they probably said something about it. It was such a big announcement when it happened, but I don't know for sure.
I think it is just a great idea, and love to see the statewide branding. I think there's real growth potential. I think there's growth potential right here in our area, but it sure is out in a kind of a listening, watching area. Everybody in sports, not just because they're my team, everybody in sports would like to have that 8-9 state reach that the St. Louis Cardinals have enjoyed largely because of KMOX and way back. But we would like to have that, and I think people, once they got to know our broadcast team, that's a great ambassador and representative of any franchise out there in sports. The envy of a lot of teams to be able to have that connection that we have, and I think that will translate over to Middle and East Tennessee.
Definitely, yeah. And Darian just now texted me saying yes, both in pre and post game. They talked about how they were all over the place. So
hey, Darian.
Definitely a lot of fun. Hello, Darian.
Now I get it. Darian, of course, I wasn't looking at my phone with near the sharp attention of Brian.
Well, no, I mean, we're working here. You shouldn't be on your phone,
Rob Fisher joined us on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. You go to FedEx Forum, you see the representation and the branding of Sissy's Log Cabin. Great supporters, the official jeweler of the hometown Memphis Grizzlies and supporter of the hometown Tigers, and the Sissy's Log Cabin FedEx Forum floor seat lounge that you can go back to. When you go back there, and you can see in those display cases just a small snippet of what you see over in Laurelwood, the beautiful jewelry in those display cases there at FedEx Forum, that location at 4542 Poplar. And we were there for the opening, and it is gorgeous. 9,000 square foot store in Laurelwood with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. I tell people, if you just stopped and just went to the Rolex department there, that's a lot. That's like something you'd see on Michigan Avenue or in New York City or in Toady, Dallas area. But the whole place is great. 9,000 square feet, and since 1970 with all the locations across the Mid-South, they offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts. The official jeweler for the Memphis Grizzlies and at FedEx Forum with the floor seat lounge. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, let's get to another break, and when we come back, we got to talk about a lot of college basketball, all the action from earlier today. We'll break down what happened and some of the bigger games coming up later tonight. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
March is known for its madness, but this year the madness means money for Sports 56 listeners. Sports 56 FM will be giving away $98.50 a day for as long as the University of Memphis is alive in the NCAA basketball tournament. That's right, when the Tigers win, more listeners win. Every time the Tigers advance, more Sports 56 listeners will be putting cash in their pocket. Listen to the Sports 56 morning, Hat Hill, and Sports Time once the brackets are announced. As long as the Tigers are in the tournament, one of the shows is giving away $98.50 each day. Once the Tigers are out, the cash is out too. So we're on the Tigers. Keep winning and keep listening to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for your chance to win some of that cash. The Sports 56 and 98.5 FM Tiger Cash giveaway is brought to you by Mid-South Small Engine, Memphis Road Inspector, Valve Equipment, and Buster's Butcher, Buster's Liquor.
Join us celebrating 26 years of Napa Cafe. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations, fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. I'd sure love to see you.
Every year it's the same thing. March arrives, and I want to tell all of you to spend as much time as possible at Bell Tavern watching college basketball. But I also want to ensure everyone that Bell Tavern is not a rowdy sports bar where you'll run into people that can't drink and watch a game without yelling. Once again, let me say Bell Tavern is a great place to watch college basketball where you won't run into people that can't drink and watch a game without yelling. Bell Tavern is not a sports bar. Bell Tavern is a grown-ups bar.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant objective feedback, hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 for you, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting days with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member in both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are
SEO 87712, MSRP 25320, K5 S53 28285, MSRP 28455, Telluride SG 596204, MSRP 41060, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 4225.
Hey, I tracked down my buddy Jeff Allen over at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah. Hey, what's up, brother?
We're ready to rock over here, Randy. 2025 Kia K4 LXS, $159 a month with class-leading torque and fuel efficiency. 2025 Kia K5 GT Line, $199 a month. And a 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive with more power, larger cargo area, and more ground clearance than a Nissan Pathfinder, $398 a month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So if you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
That's Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah. Online anytime, KiaMountMoriah.com.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's still a mess as they clean up this truck crash. It's been over here for now almost a couple of hours on 55 northbound at South Parkway. Hopefully they'll have this back open and flowing here in the next few minutes. It's been struggling up through here for a while on 55 northbound right at South Parkway as traffic builds out of Midtown on 240 South as you work your way down past Norris. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Back into Sports Time, Bryant and Brett with you, and we got to talk about all the college basketball action from today. Games going on, games that have already ended, games coming up. Start out in the SEC tournament up in Nashville. We got a really good one going on right now. Texas, a 58-53 lead over Texas A&M. About 9:16 left. Texas shooting free throws to extend this lead. It's been a fun game, and Texas A&M went on a little bit of a run, a 13-3 run out of the break, regained the lead, but now here comes Texas with their punch. So we'll see how this game ends over the next 9 minutes. Would be a massive win for Texas, a team that entered SEC tournament play on the outside of the bubble. A win yesterday, certainly a win today would you'd feel pretty good, or at least a lot better, about where they're at on Selection Sunday.
I think you're right. I don't know why not. Do you think North Carolina needs to win tomorrow over Duke?
It certainly would do the trick if they're not in yet.
Go a long way.
It would go a really long way. And now, obviously, with the injuries to Duke, I think that's very possible.
I'm right on that matchup tomorrow, right?
I think that's right. Let me double check, but I believe that is that's the matchup tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, if they could go out there, yeah, North Carolina Duke, 6:00 tomorrow night on ESPN in the ACC semifinals. That's a good one. That's exactly where ESPN wants that game to be. So no, I mean, if they get that win, they're definitely in. I want to look. Did Lenardi update his bracket today? I haven't looked.
He hasn't. During the day, the last update I see is from last night at 1:40 a.m. or this morning at 1:40 a.m.
So
I don't think he's updated as the days unfolded.
So he had North Carolina in that latest
the
update.
very last one.
Yes. Yeah, I think with today's win, they're in a decent spot. Obviously, if you have bid stealers in there, you don't want to be in that last four in. A win tomorrow would be huge. Now, let's say Texas holds on and wins this game. Right now, Indiana, the last team in the last four in, that would certainly knock them out with a loss today for Indiana. So yeah, I mean, we're starting to see this bubble really play out, a super soft bubble, but we're starting to get a little more clarity on it.
One spot in front of North Carolina Xavier, and they lost a heartbreaker 89-87 today at the Garden in Big East action. 2 spots in front of North Carolina is Indiana, and they lost. We got got dusted by 13 by Oregon.
I see yours is different than mine. We're not looking at the same bracket, so I wonder.
Okay.
I wonder when because mine has Indiana as the final team in the last
Okay.
four ends.
What was the update of your time? Joe's not splitting the difference
so
on his.
he just updated it.
Well, he
4
did.
p.m. How about that? Wow.
Zany Joe. Come
All
on.
right. Okay. So I thought that said a.m.
Joe
when I looked at it earlier.
sleeps.
No, Joe's life. His
Okay,
entire
we'll go with
life
yours.
is-
I had
is
all that
bracketology.
completely wrong. I'm very sorry.
So yes. So right now let's just take a look at the bubble as it stands right now. Last 4 byes: Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Utah State, West Virginia. Those are his last 4 byes. His last 4 in right now: San Diego State, Xavier, North Carolina, Indiana. First 4 out: Texas, Ohio State, Boise State, and Colorado State. So a win here for Texas would be huge. That would certainly get them on the right side of the bracket at the end of today.
If it's Texas or North Carolina, we know who's getting the bid.
Texas. Absolutely.
I would say North Carolina with Bubba Cunningham chairing that committee.
Well, that's true, but I mean, their resumes I don't even think are
I don't
comparable.
think they're close.
They're not comparable, and I think if we want to have any integrity in
college
in
sports,
building a bracket,
what are we gonna do that
well,
for?
You know, you're
We
right
don't
about that.
Might give it a bad name if we brought some integrity to it.
That is true, but I think that's the last thing we should have is the chairman's team get in over
Never forget,
another
Brian,
team.
the rest of your natural days, never forget, at the college football committee, they went with a team because they didn't lose as badly as they were losing in the first half. They lost.
That's true.
They still lost.
true.
But they didn't get smoked as bad as it looked like they were going to.
Oh, but Brett, 2 different sports. I mean, you know, in first year of the college football playoffs, I mean, we're just feeling this thing out, you know.
A lot of years, the basketball committee feels like it's the first year we've done it.
Well, that is true, and it feels like, hey, here's our bracket that we put together on Friday. Have fun.
For the Tigers, a win over Wichita State does what with mock brackets and seedings?
Well, I'm trying to look to see where Joe Lunardi has Memphis right this second. If he still has them, on that 8-9 line.
Okay, mine just refreshed.
There we go. How about
Way to
that?
go.
It's a little slow. It's all right. I really don't think a win tomorrow does anything.
What's the loss do?
I mean, that
Justifies purgatory.
Exactly. It
justifies Elb.
Exactly.
Not
exactly.
purgatory.
I've said it a couple times.
Purgatory's out of the bracket. Elb's down bracket.
That's true. I've said it a couple times. I think Memphis, if they do what they got to do here at the AAC tournament, we know that championship game's not going to matter. I think they're going to be a 7 seed. That's my guess right now. And so I think a win tomorrow probably don't move much. A win Saturday, I think Joe bumps them up to a 7, and then I think that's, in my thought right now, I think that's where the committee's going to put him as a 7.
Right now he has Arkansas as a 10 playing 7 seed Louisville in Lexington.
Well, you can't write it better than that. I mean,
No.
you could, but it'd be hard to write
Just
it
a
better
little
than
bit
that.
better.
Yes, but
Ole Miss 5 playing McNeese as the 12 will Wade. They're in Denver. Winner gets the winner of Purdue Yale.
I'd love that matchup. Oh, that'd be so fun. Those two coaches.
Ole Miss would like to play Purdue again.
Sure.
Narrowly lost to them out Thanksgiving out in San Diego.
They
With
absolutely
Eli
would.
Savoy doing the game.
Yeah, so I mean that'd be fun, you know, if you could get that matchup against Purdue in the second round. But that first round, I mean, Will Wade, it sounds like from everywhere you hear that he's not gonna, this is his final year at McNeese, and will likely get that big job this offseason. I mean, to see those two coaches going up against each other in a first round game, that would be that would almost be the game where I would want the camera in like the bottom corner of the screen that's just on each coach. I would just want to see their reactions the entire game.
Memphis in the 8-9 game in the most recent updated Joe Lunardi bracket playing Georgia. Memphis is the 8 playing 9 seed. Georgia bringing on so many levels. Winner getting the winner of Houston, Quinnipiac. We've been kind of in that spot with him for a while. We'll see if these guys right. Again, I want people to think of the political polling world. When you get down to the short rows that we're down, they want to be right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no more far-fetched, aspirational. I mean, only the Des Moines Register is dumb enough to be that wrong 2 days out.
Yeah, well,
but they were advocating. They weren't bowling.
That's right. And so this is a projection. They're trying to predict what the committee is going to do.
This is how they earned their chops.
Exactly. Well, heck, Joe Lenardi wrote a book about bracketology. So I mean, he is the bracketologist. So we'll see.
Speaking of books in college basketball, the breaking news of veteran Washington Post and renowned author John Feinstein dying at 69 years of age, and his basketball books, his sport, all of his books were great, but his basketball books, most notably Season on the Brink, The Last Amateurs, About a Year Inside the Patriot League. So Good Walk Spoiled was great. I think I've read a lot of them, not every single word, but a lot of them, and met him out a couple times at NC tournaments. I think he would have been described, if you had to label him something, as a basketball writer. But he also he was the color analyst on Navy football for a long time.
Wow, I did not know that.
And authored the great book. And I'm turning around now to try to get the right title. The Civil War, the Inside the Army Navy football series.
Yeah.
And it is terrific past today at 69, and and he was a tough, combative sort, but brought a lot of people inside and entertained a lot of people with his writing and his sports report.
Yeah, I mean one of my favorite authors of all time. I mean, what he did when it came to the nonfiction, whether it was basketball or baseball, had a couple baseball books. You mentioned golf in there. I mean, just everything. Had it. And then even when I was a kid, he wrote a fiction, more of a young adult children's series of fiction books that I loved. I mean, they were my favorite books that I read growing up. And so, yeah, man, that news earlier today really, really hurt, because I love reading John Feinstein books.
Had he been ill? Because I think I saw where he either had just tweeted or had just talked about in the last few days. It was reported by his brother, his passing. His dad, their dad, and his brother, and I don't know if any other siblings, was the conductor of the Washington, D.C. Symphony.
Really? Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it was...
At one time.
Wow, I did not know that. But no, it sounds like it was pretty sudden based on what I've seen. He had a story published this morning on the Washington Post about Michigan State. I saw a tweet from somebody, I don't remember now who, that said that he was supposed to stay with them this upcoming weekend to go to games, whatever city this person lived in. There obviously a conference tournament there, that he was going to attend in person, and he was staying with them. So it sounds like pretty sudden, and so really, really sad stuff.
Yeah, inside the district, D.C., long-time resident. I've got it on PTI now. Tony Kornheiser's not on today. Michael Wilpon is, and I think that's Frank Isola co-hosting with him. And I know that Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilpon were really tight, close.
Very tight.
Besties, because Tony Kornheiser would affectionately always, and I think it was his legal name, would call him John Jr. Feinstein.
That's great.
That's great. But would do it lovingly. But he's not on today, but Michael Wilbon as well. And what a staff, all those guys pouring it out at the Post in those years.
Just
Tony Kornheiser, for years, his sports writing and his columns, his takes, they were provocative, they were tough. He was fair to everyone. He was rough as heck to everyone, but he was fair. But his work in the Sunday style section of the Post, that you wouldn't kind of really just generalize a sports writer being that good in the style section, was fun, good, entertaining stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was incredible in really everything he did when it came to writing. I was just reading a couple months ago one of his more recent books, The Backroads to March, which kind of covers a bunch of teams from one-bid conferences that go on the run and make it to March Madness. Really good book. And so, yeah, I mean, just
that's
really,
a big loss
really
for March coverage and college basketball and
really tough stuff.
Also, I would say college basketball.
I would say
he was
too.
great on golf.
He was, yeah.
Great on the Golf Channel with coverage and he would he would take on Johnny Miller.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, and
he wasn't scared of anything.
No, and I remember having this conversation a month or two ago about somebody else that, unfortunate for this situation, has not died yet. But we were kind of talking about, their headstone. What would it say of them? Because they're just so good at everything. It might have been Joe Buck we were talking about.
It was.
I think
that's right.
Yeah, that is who it was. I mean, there are those type in the sports world where they're just so good. No matter what it is, you just put a sport in front of them, whether it's talking about it, writing about it, whatever it is, they can just do it like nobody else. John Feinstein was that guy. I mean, it did not matter what sport it was. He was going to cover it at the highest of high levels. I would probably say college basketball was, if you had to just name one thing, that's probably it. But just, you weren't going to find anything that he did poorly.
Well said. Remarkable talent.
Yeah, just remarkable. So definitely sad news today in the sports world. But this Texas game, another update on it, about 7 minutes left. Texas right now a 63-57 lead over Texas A&M. The Aggies heading to the free throw line for a pair of free throws. We'll keep you updated on what's going on there in that matchup. Obviously a big one for Texas sitting on the bubble right now. Let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and 95 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or in our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
Hello? Hey, little sis. Did you get your W-2 yet? Yes, I did. Well, last year when I told you to file early to get your refund quick? Yes, I remember. Well, go ahead and call now, and you can get your refund fast. Thanks. That's why I love you. Always looking out for your little sis.
To get your taxes filed quick and get your refund fast, go to Brenton Tax Service, located in Midtown Memphis on Madison Avenue. We may not be related to you, but at Brenton Tax Service, we protect you like family.
During the tax season, your sensitive info does a lot of traveling to places you can't control. Stopping off at payroll, your accountant or tax preparer, countless other data centers on its way to the IRS. Any of them can expose you to identity theft because they all have the info on your W-2, just the ticket for criminals to steal your identity. No wonder the IRS reported tax fraud due to identity theft went up 20% last year. You need LifeLock. They monitor millions of data points per second, alert you to threats you'd miss. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialists fix it, backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. And restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Restoration specialists fix it, backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. And restoration is guaranteed or your money back. So don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Get LifeLock protection for tax season and beyond. You join now and you can get up to 40% off your first year if you use the promo code HERD, H-E-R-D. Terms apply. That's LifeLock.com, code HERD.
The first ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure. First time ever. Unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say, they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is the first time ever preseason pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Wing Road at I-40. Family and fun, come together.
Volkswagen deal days are on, and it's your best time to buy a Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Right now, 2024 Taos SE's only $239 a month. How about 2025 Jetta SE with Gossett $269 a month? New 2023 Taos SE's only $26,998. All 2024 Volkswagen Atlas SEL Peak Editions or all 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport SELR lines, $5,000 off. Plus new 2023 VW Atlas SE Tech, $31,999. So hurry to Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com. Gossett is charging for it and charging less every day. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Volkswagen.
MSRP 27,116, Taos SE, RM 107067, MSRP 30,658, 23 Taos, MSRP 32,119, Tech PC 513,081, MSRP 43,646, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95. Once again, Brett Rosary and Ryan Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today is the number 30. Right now, Texas has 30 rebounds in this game against Texas A&M. While they aren't winning the rebounding battle over Texas A&M only has a 2-rebound advantage in that category, 32-30, and that is how you have to rebound the ball if you're going to beat Texas A&M, one of the best teams in the country when it comes to rebounding the ball. And at halftime, it was Texas had the rebounding margin. I think they were plus 4 or 5 in rebounds. If you're going to beat Texas A&M, you got to beat them on the boards. You've got to beat them doing the dirty work. And right now, with about 5 minutes, a little more than 5 minutes left in this game, Texas up by 5 would be a huge win for the Longhorns if they can pull this off. Still a whole lot of game left to play, and at any point, this Texas A&M team, if they can knock down a shot or two the way they play defense, they could really get back in this game. But right now, Texas shooting 42.5% from the field, 40% from 3. This can be one to keep an eye on over these last 5 minutes.
It is, and it would set up, if Texas wins, a potential Davy Crockett Bowl, Texas versus Tennessee tomorrow. Who really owns him?
Well,
who has the rights to Davy Crockett?
We'll find out tomorrow, I guess, maybe.
and for Texas, at this point, keep on winning. We'll worry about Rodney Terry later.
I was about to say, it's almost
always take winning.
Yeah, it's almost like the Mike Woodson quote. Maybe I'm leaving too early. Maybe they're thinking about firing me too early in the case of Texas. But no, this has been a fun one. Trey Johnson, he leads the Longhorns right now with 15 points, 6 for 17 from the field. He's a great player. I'd have him on my team.
My big number is the number 3, as in 3 of the 8 coaches coaching today in Nashville at the SEC tournament. They've all been to a Final Four, but none of the 3 have been to a Final Four with their team they're currently coaching.
Well, that is true.
Arkansas with John Calipari,
yes.
Ole Miss with Chris Beard, And Oklahoma with Porter Moser. Porter Moser went to the Final Four with Loyola. Chris Beard went with Texas Tech, and John Calipari went with UMass, Memphis, and Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some good coaches. We know the SEC has the good coaches, but for those three, I mean, when is the next time they take a team back to the Final Four? And certainly for Cal in his first year at Arkansas, some work to do. And OU, I mean, it just felt like a couple weeks ago we were talking about making a move there at head coach. So I mean, it's gonna be fun to watch those three teams.
And the SEC superiority this year in college basketball, it will be defined by advancement in the NCAA tournament. Yes, it's been great. These coaches have been great. And, it's pretty much, except for 13 seed Texas, kind of holding to form for tomorrow for quarterfinal action. We still have, Mississippi State and Mizzou tonight, and I think that's a toss-up, and OU and Kentucky, and Kentucky's heavy favored. But a lot of people go, look at 13 seed Texas. It's a good story. Mm-hmm. Next week's the big story.
Yeah. What can they do in the big dance? And certainly if they're playing like this, they can win a game at least. But will they be able to do that? We've seen this Texas team play really well. We've seen them play really bad. They have really struggled at times this season. But right now, up 3 with about 3 minutes left.
Form holding in Fort Worth as well, right? Mm-hmm. With FAU, they've won, and Wichita State won.
Yeah, look at you, Brett, keeping up with the what's going on in the American. How about that? You got your bracket out. Wow.
In my best Donald Sutherland line that Greg Gaston could really appreciate from Animal House. It's my job.
Well, that is unfortunately true. But, yes, you are right. Wichita State, we know they'll play the Tigers tomorrow. FAU just got done with a 64-59 win over Charlotte here. At 6 o'clock, we'll have Temple, Tulsa, and then we'll wrap up the night, UTSA in East Carolina. So there's a little AAC update for you.
You staying up all night for it?
I'll be up watching games. I'm not going to promise you that I will have that game on. I think there are far better games to watch than UTSA in East Carolina.
Me too. But I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, sure. I'll look down at my phone and see what the score is. But
I don't know that I'm riveted, but I'm gonna be riveted tomorrow at noon, though.
Yo, for sure. I'll be watching. I'll watch 6 o'clock. I'll watch Temple and Tulsa. I'll probably have money on Temple and Tulsa, but the 8 o'clock game,
you like Temple, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Tulsa, I don't.
Brett's
think.
5-star lock.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Look at us going 5 stars out. What in the world? Oh my gosh. Wow.
Making it rain.
Wow. All right. Well, before we get to a break, let me remind you. I mean, 5 o'clock hour is almost here. It's almost dinner time. Maybe you think about going out tonight, or maybe even this weekend. And when you're in Memphis, you think of barbecue, and you can get that world famous Memphis style barbecue any night at the commissary. With locations in Germantown and Collierville, stop in for lunch or dinner or get it to go. Start your meal with an appetizer like the cheese plate, chicken wings, or my favorite, the barbecue nachos. For more than 40 years, the commissary has been a staple in this area. A big reason is because of the quality of food they serve. My go-to, it's got to be the ribs, but it's hard to resist the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled, get it by the plate or by the pound. Comes in handy with the sandwich pack. Feed the whole group with a 6-pack, 8-pack, and even a 12-pack. And don't forget about the dessert, like the delicious banana pudding, brownie, or the lemon icebox pie. Check out the entire menu and catering options at commissarybbq.com. Whether it's a watch party for your favorite team or a tailgate, let the commissary cater your next event. Give them a call, 901-754-5540, and make any event perfect. But today, stop in at either location. In Germantown, open daily till 8 p.m., and in Collierville, open till 9 p.m. for the world-famous Memphis-style barbecue at the commissary. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we're talking all things Tigers with Greg Gaston.
Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Elwood Shack in the Lowe's parking lot on Summer just keeps getting bigger and better. Bigger because now there's a second Elwood Shack at 4040 Park across from the University of Memphis. And better because you can get breakfast every day at both Elwoods. There's the barbecue breakfast burrito, even beef brisket or pork shoulder, and pancake biscuits made fresh daily. Real house-made pancakes, apple with bacon, French toast, and more. And the new Elwood even has a real coffee bar serving fresh roasted J. Brooks coffee. Elwood Shack, now with 2 locations and open every day for you.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 912-715-5199.
Case is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today with a loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's on Highway 64 in Marlin, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Online radio show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Nancy Porter with 24/7 Sports. Former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC sports now, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey from kickoff to throw to extra innings. Your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still limping along out here on 55 northbound at South Parkway. They are in the cleanup stages of this truck crash. It's been out here for almost 3 hours now, and it's caught everybody off guard in this area over here. Again, it's still slow between Mallory and South Parkway on 55 northbound, but it is in its cleanup stages, so let's hope they get it back open sooner than later over here on 55 northbound at South Parkway. If your lawn needs a little bit of help this time of the year, call Lawn Solutions right now, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Once again.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour. We're going to talk Tigers here in a second with Greg Gaston, but we did have some breaking news that just came out during that break we were just on. The Grizzlies PR just released the status report for tomorrow night's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Santi Aldama still listed as out with that right calf strain, but Jaren Jackson Jr. now upgraded to questionable for tomorrow night's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So really good sign that he could return tomorrow night, and definitely a good sign if he doesn't return tomorrow night, maybe could return Saturday night. So definitely good news there. Only about a week and a half after he went down with that injury and was listed as week to week. We'll get back into that, talk more about that in our next segment during What's Trending. Let's go ahead and talk some Tigers with Greg Gaston.
From the Tiger sideline, it's Tiger Talk with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Here's Greg, Wednesday mornings on Sports 56 mornings, along with
Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us every week to talk Tigers. Make sure you listen to him every morning from 7 to 10 with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli. Well, Greg, it's going to be Memphis and Wichita State in the conference tournament for a second straight year. What do you make of this matchup we're going to see tomorrow?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good
It's
afternoon.
going to be a fairly tough matchup, I would think, because Wichita State did win a game this year against them. As you mentioned, Bryant, they knocked them out of the tournament last year. They have some bigs that have done some damage against Memphis, although Bauer didn't have a big game today in their win against South Florida. We know that he's certainly capable. Cortez I like a lot. Washington. They just have been underachievers this year. I think they're better than their record would indicate, but still, if Memphis plays their game, which they should, it shouldn't be a problem. And what I also like about Memphis is, again, and I don't know how many times I've said this on this broadcast of your show and then on my show, is that every time they face a little adversity, they always battle back from it. Anytime they can find something to use as a little more ammunition, they use it successfully. And having lost to Wichita State this year, they also beat them, but having lost to them and having been knocked out by them last year, even though the players, for the most part, are different, I think it's going to be extra motivation for them to go out there and play really, really well tomorrow.
Yeah, the Tigers tomorrow at noon Central Time against Wichita State. The winner of that game will face the winner of FAU in Tulane. That will be on Saturday. How important is this tournament? Is all the goings-on from the Tiger perspective at Dickies Arena, Greg?
It's important because they want to win the conference tournament title to match their regular season title. As far as seeding is concerned, I don't think it has any relevance. I don't think it's going to make a hill of beans difference winning. Now, losing, they certainly will drop. There's no question if they got knocked out tomorrow that it would be damaging. If they get knocked out on Saturday, it would be damaging. Sunday, maybe not so much, but a win I don't think elevates them to a seed line higher. I just don't believe it. There's not any quality teams they're playing. It's not any teams that are in the net that are worth a while. So I don't think it does anything as far as the NCAA tournament, Brett. But as far as for Memphis and the significance of winning both titles, the regular season and the tournament title, it's extremely important.
Can't we hope that somebody in that committee room, they have the profile sheet of Memphis in front of them, and this is assuming the Tigers win tomorrow, and they're having the conversation, at brunch Saturday before the semis are played, and they go, okay, Memphis did lose in overtime at Wichita, but they beat them in Memphis, and they beat them on a neutral. At some point, does that not get negated? Are they not ahead? Wouldn't you love that somebody would speak up and say that?
You would think so, right? 2 wins versus the 1 loss. Yes, it makes perfect sense. The problem is it just doesn't seem that Memphis is getting the benefit of the doubt with the wins. They are penalized more for the losses than they are rewarded for the wins. That's an issue. But here's the thing. I learned this today. We had Tim Pernetti on the program, the American Conference Commissioner, and they have a chance every week, he has said, for the last, I don't know how many weeks it's going on, but there is a couple of days each week that they can contact and talk to a committee member or members. I don't know all the exact details, but there has been conversations going on between members of that committee, and not only Tim Pernetti and the American, but all the leagues, where they express different things that's going on with their teams so they can air it out, whether it's the airing out of grievances or any other issues. They are at least being given that opportunity to bend the ear of some of the committee members. Whether or not it makes a difference, I don't know, but I never knew that happened until we had Tim on today, and he said that's what's going on.
So you get a situation where it's I state your name.
I state your name, absolutely.
Second Animal House reference in the last 15 minutes, Greg.
I like it.
Did you catch the one right before the break? I know you did catch it when Bryant was, I think, stunned that I had the afternoon action. I had a handle on it from the American and had the bracket in front of me. And I told him in my best Donald Sutherland voice, it's my job.
I didn't hear that one, but
you got it though, didn't you?
I pick up Animal House references and Caddyshack references like they're going out of style. Believe me.
Come on in. The beer's free.
Do you mind if we dance with your dates? All right, we'll go on forever. So.
Yeah, y'all be here all night if I let y'all keep going. You mentioned Tim Pernetti on the show this morning. I unfortunately missed that interview. What else did Tim Pernetti have to say? Did he talk any about the idea that he has proposed about going from 18 to 20 conference games?
Yeah, he did, and then he brought not brought back, but he reeled back from that. He said that's probably not the way they're going to go after
Good, reeling back to 16.
Yeah, exactly. Let's play 8 conference games. So that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's exactly what he said, that they're going to walk back from that. And they met with the ADs yesterday. So Ed Scott leading the way for the University of Memphis and other ADs expressing their opinions on things in the future. Tim's a sharp guy. I like him an awful lot. He's a former player. He understands college athletics. You know, his hands are tied for a lot of things because of just, quite frankly, where they are as a conference. But a lot of the things he said is encouraging. Look, we know that Memphis needs to be in a bigger conference. They need to be in a power conference. I don't know if they'll ever get there. But we know that that's the case, and if there was ever the offer on the table that was strong enough financially, they're gone. And I think Tim Pernetti knows that. He's an intelligent guy, but for the time being, he's got to make the most out of it. The other thing I learned about was while football, when teams go to not the bowl games so much, but when they go, if they are the representative in the playoff, then they get the lion's share of the money in the conference. Now, maybe that was known, but in basketball, that hasn't been the case. And he said now, he talked about a lump sum of money that goes to or they're talking about it. I don't even know it's been voted upon yet, that would go to the team or teams that actually make the NCAA tournament. And so it makes a lot of sense. Eli also asked him about if he sees them going down the road that the ACC is now going down with the split of the distribution of the money favoring the teams that have had more success and more exposure and have done more for the conferences. And that's why Florida State and Clemson, at least for the time being, are satisfied with this rectified situation. And he said, we're not sure, but it's something we may entertain. So there's a lot of things that they are looking at, different revenue streams to make more money, although they're under contract. He said they can look at their contract in 2026 with ESPN. I don't know what would happen. I don't think ESPN is going to throw more money their way, but there's a lot of different things that they are looking at right now.
Greg, did you I'm sorry, and I will go back and listen. Did you toss at him or ask him about direction he's going to give these men's basketball coaches on scheduling? We got to lose all the Louisiana Christian and Holy Souls academies. Everybody's playing non-conference.
Oh yes, we absolutely tackled that, and he talked about that, and he's not happy with when you're looked at as Brian. Where do they rank the American
10th.
Conferences this year?
In KenPom.
I mean, when you're looked at 10th, it's looked as the 10th strongest conference. That's embarrassing, and he's embarrassed by that. This is his first year as the commissioner, so he takes over. This is his first basketball tournament, and to know that that's the way you're looked at, because the teams in this conference outside of Memphis have either not scheduled strong enough, or when they have played games against teams of their even strength they have lost to, or even teams below them they have lost to. So he is certainly laying down the hammer. I couldn't tell you every detail he said this morning because I can't remember all of it, but I would suggest, my memory shot,
okay.
But I would suggest you go ahead and give it a listen. But yeah, he definitely, I asked him the question. He one thing about him, and I really, really like about him, is no questions like too tough for him. He says, bring it on, basically. He will answer the question as intelligently as he can and tell them and tell us and tell the listeners what direction they plan on going, if there's an answer to those questions. He also talked about the tournament as far as the bids that are going out, that have been out there already, that they are still talking about what's going to happen, but he likes moving around the tournament now since it's been at Dickies Arena, and I can understand wanting to move it around, making money for the conference, going to the highest bidders. But here's something I didn't know. Memphis only bid on the men's. They did not bid on the women's. And I asked him point blank, is that going to be something that hurts Memphis? Do you want both of the tournaments at the same site? And he said, no, we put them out even as individual bids. So you can very much see the separation of the men's and the women's tournament moving forward as opposed to what they have now with both the men and the women playing down in Texas.
Yeah. I definitely like that what you said about how, very open, will answer any question and seems very honest about how he feels about a lot of different things. And it feels like he's trying to be innovative. He's trying to think out of the box. Some of the ideas we might not like or sound like, maybe don't do that. Others, okay, let's do them. But it sounds like he's trying to put this conference in a much better spot than what it is right now.
Absolutely. You can't leave any stone unturned. You have to look at every possibility, think outside the box. Look, they're never going to be the SEC and the Big Ten, but there's no reason why they can't be the best of the rest. And for a while there, they were. And we're not going to go down the whole road, Brett, again of the P6, but certainly they can be in a position where they're not looked at as just a horrendous basketball league. Football's certainly not the case here, but you don't want that in the future either. You want your teams scheduling as hard as they can. I know it takes two to tango, but you need to do that. He also talked about revenue sharing and that every player in this league, every team, every AD has committed to the basement. This is the bottom line. It could be more. $10 million over the next 3 years in revenue sharing. And who knows what the penalty will be if a school does not live up to that, but it could be a school actually being kicked out of the conference. That is the bare bones minimum of $10 million over 3 years. May not sound a lot when you compare it to probably $20 million or so with the other with the power conferences, but it's a start. And he said other schools or schools within the conference, some of them will go above that number, but that is the minimum number because we are all in on revenue sharing. That's the way of the future. It's going to be the president here very, very soon, and we are all in. So there's not going to be anybody that drops out. Now, Army and Navy, they're not involved in that because they don't give out NIL money, and they're just a whole different ballgame. But everybody else is all in on revenue sharing.
Greg, this time next week, the Tigers will be playing somewhere in the NCAA tournament. If they are playing when we're visiting with you in 2 weeks, it makes really easy what I'm getting ready to ask you. We know if they're playing in 2 weeks, I think Ed Scott's got to add years, money, positions, almost anything that Coach Hardaway would ask him for if he's in a Sweet 16. But just right now, with what's been accomplished, do you think years should be added on, or money and years, or nothing, or just say, great job, you performed well, this is your contract?
Yeah, I wish I knew what the language was in the contract. If there's an additional year making the NCAA tournament or whatever it is, we've talked before about clauses in Ryan Silverfield's contract with the amount of wins and things of that nature, what it does. So I don't know what's in Penny's contract. Look, I understand where we are now with coaches. I'm old school. I go back and I think, man, fulfill your contract. If you got a 3-year contract, you signed it. Nobody put a gun to your head. Fulfill the contract. Exactly. But we know the difference, right? In this day and age, if you have success, they're going to throw another year your way. There's always that talk about, it used to be, well, you want to make sure that the coach is under contract for the 4 years that the player that's coming in his recruiting class, we know that's phooey now, right? These players leave at the drop of a hat with the transfer portal. It makes no sense anymore. But that Pandora's box is wide open. And if a coach who is expected to have success does have success, he's still going to be rewarded for it. So, long-winded answer to your question, but I would say yes. Penny Hardaway will probably be given some sort of contract extension and probably some sort of raise, I would think, if they have that success to go to the Sweet 16. Because here's the thing. Penny Hardaway getting the recognition that he's getting, the American Coach of the Year, one of the 15 finalists for the Naismith Award, they're starting to take notice after some struggles that for whatever it was this off season, after the debacle last year, he has figured it out. His whole demeanor has changed. His attitude has changed. We know that he knows the game of basketball, and he's coached it at the high school level and even at the junior high level. So with the success for Penny Hardaway, who is certainly an attraction for recruits, you have to start wonder not about him moving on to another college per se, but when will the NBA take notice and maybe look at Penny Hardaway, whether it be a lead assistant or even down the road a head coaching job? I don't know if Penny will be here forever, and he's taken some cuts on the salary that he could have gotten out of Memphis over the years. So he's been pretty kind. He's given back, but I think right now you have to, as long as they just don't fizzle out and lose this conference tournament this week and then end up being a 9 seed and get knocked out in the first game. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I would say yes, you'd probably give him some sort of an extension.
And Greg, in next year, starting year 8, I'll say it again on the eve of the season, that what I'm getting ready to say right now, I'll repeat myself on the eve of the season, come fall, I would have bet everything. I mean, I couldn't have been more wrong. I could not have been more wrong. I would have never believed Penny Hardaway would have been completing year 7 and starting year 8 next fall.
Is it because you thought that he would leave or he would be fired or he would take another job? What was your reason?
Check the box of circumstances. Disinterested, want my old life back. I got plenty of money. I don't have to do this. The carping and complaining that happened last year. Just any assortment of things. If you would have told me the day he was announced to being hired at 0-0 that he would be completing year 7 and in the fall would be starting year 8, I would have said no way.
I think I
did
agree
say
with
no
you.
way.
I think I agree with you. But here's the thing. I think we have undervalued how much he absolutely loves this city and loves this university.
You are right.
And then now maybe we didn't undervalue this part, but the guy wants to have success. So while he's not had the success, he's not going to quit. He's not taking his ball and is going to go home. He is going to get it done. So, therefore, because of the lack of the success that he had hoped to have over these years, and they've had some moments, but certainly not the sustained success, it has made him more eager to get it done and more willing to commit his time, his energy, his resources. And so, yeah, it's amazing. I get a chance to talk to him, and I was out in Vegas with him and played some golf with him, and went to his birthday party. I mean, so I've had a chance, not extensively, but I've had a chance to talk to Penny. It's really unbelievable how much this guy worships this city, and it still kills him what happened last year, and he has fully taken the blame for what happened to that team last year.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely right. I think you definitely nailed that. And it's going to be fun to see what they can do in the AAC tournament and then into the NCAA tournament. It'll all start tomorrow at noon against Wichita State. Greg, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds great, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg. Enjoy the games. Greg Gaston with us every Thursday talking all things Tigers. Tomorrow, talking Tigers with us at 5 o'clock, will be Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal. He is presented by Jim's Place Grill. He's joined us all year, and he will be with us tomorrow live from Dickey's Arena. Jim's Place Grill, over 100 years of charcoal grill steaks, over 100 years of family time, lasting memories, great celebrations. The Terrace family with their touch for our community with recipes that date back to the beginning in downtown to now in Collierville at the railroad tracks at Poplar and Houston Levee. The games are on in the bar right now, and it'll be going strong into the night there. You can go online at jimsplacegrill.com. Don't forget the E in grill. Every state grill perfectly over an open flame. Come to Jim's Place and taste and see and feel the difference. Lunch hours Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Dinner hours Monday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Since 1921, a Memphis landmark with hard work, values, and a dedication to their beloved diners, the Terrace family. They've created that memorable dining experience. The lunch menu, the staples like the souffle ma, the shrimp cocktail, crab cakes, and those salad dressings, all homemade. And at dinner, the calamari, soup, seafood, and the steaks, ribeyes, strips, and fillets. Go right now and enjoy. Go this weekend, enjoy, and take in March Madness in that fantastic bar area, all at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville.
Well, we have overtime in Nashville, the SEC tournament. About a minute 15 left in overtime. Right now, Texas A&M, they have stormed back to force overtime, and then they've really dominated this OT. Now, Texas just hit a 3, so a 1-point game now with a timeout. 78-77 the score here, with A&M up by a point with a minute left.
When they went to overtime, I texted a friend of mine in the SEC office. I said, the TV partners have to love the Thursday afternoon session.
Oh, yeah. No, it has been really good. It is what anybody
advertisers got their money's worth.
Yes. No, both these games have been fantastic. Plenty of stoppages in there to get some ads in. Really good stuff. We'll keep you updated on how that game ends between Texas and Texas A&M. But before we get to another break, let me remind you about Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984. Their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs, the Defender is built for the modern explorer. And Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online at jaguarbluffcity.com. But head out there and test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Sports56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
March is known for its madness, but this year the madness means money for Sports 56 listeners. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM will be giving away $98.50 a day for as long as the University of Memphis stays alive in the NCAA basketball tournament. That's right, when the Tigers win, more listeners win. Every time the Tigers advance, more Sports 56 listeners will be putting cash in their pocket. Listen to the Sports 56 morning, Happy Hour, and Sportstime once the brackets are announced. As long as the Tigers are in the tournament, one of the shows will be giving away $98.50 each day. Once the Tigers are out, the cash is out too. So we're on the Tigers. Keep winning and keep listening to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for your chance to win some of that cash. The Sports 56 and 98.5 FM Tiger Cash Giveaway is brought to you by Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Road Inspector, Valve Equipment, and Buster's Butcher, Buster's Liquors. Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Old defense guns, home guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, classic arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun imported in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections, appraisals, and free border sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at classicarmsandmemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Georgia Parkway behind Frankie's Barbecue in Cordova.
It's putt-putt time. The weather's getting right for a little time outside. Putt-putt golf Orphan Games Driving Range is a good place to be. At Putt Putt Driving Range, $10 get you a small bucket of balls, use of the chain and putting greens, and home tracer. Even senior rates available. Putt Putt Orphan Games Driving Range, 5484 Summer Avenue. Putt Putt Driving Range, 901-386-2993. Putt Putt Driving Range, it's Putt Putt time. If you need glass replaced, there is one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit BinswangerGlass.com. Binswanger Glass. If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with reservations from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's trying to move a little bit better on 55 northbound up past South Parkway. Boy, has it been crazy slow over here today with those 2 truck wrecks. It seems like it took forever to try to get these vehicles out of here on 55 northbound at South Parkway. Again, they were out here for over 3.5 hours. Still, give yourself a little bit of extra time up in that area there, 55 north at South Parkway. They're just filling out a lot of paperwork. Traffic still busy, 240 getting on to 385. Bill Morris Parkway headed out towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. So we got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We're going to double overtime in Nashville, Texas, and Texas A&M. They're tied at 79 right now as we get ready for a second overtime. We'll talk a lot of college basketball here in a segment. We just got done talking Tigers, and I'd like to tell you, Tigers getting ready for a NCAA tournament run, right here on Sports 56. We talk a whole lot of Tigers, and so we're excited for next week with the Tigers and the run they could go on. And we're up here at Sports 56, we're doing the Tiger Cash giveaway. As long as the Tigers are alive in the NCAA tournament, we'll be giving away $98.50 each day on either Sports 56 Mornings, Happy Hour, or right here on Sports Time. Obviously, 98.5, where you can find us on FM. So $98.50. And got to thank the great sponsors that are going to be with us during this. Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold inspector in the Mid-South, Kolb Equipment, and Buster's Butcher and Buster's Liquors. That will start on Monday once the NCAA tournament is set. So make sure you're tuned in all week long right here on Sports 56, because you'll have an opportunity to win some good cash.
The way to make March even more fun and more memorable, and it will be. We want a long Tiger run for sure.
Yes, we do.
Well, that is we're giving away that cash. And speaking of cashing in, boy, they've had the games in Nashville today. Now 81-81
wow.
In the second overtime. Clock getting ready to tick down to about 4 minutes to play. With the Texas Aggies and the Texas Longhorns, no love lost.
No.
The winner will stick it in the loser's ear, and loser, you just got to make the long drive back home to Texas.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, this has been a really fun game. We talked about it earlier. I mean, Texas is really matching Texas A&M in terms of physicality and kind of attacking the boards. Texas A&M's done a really nice job in the second half and into overtime, kind of getting that rebound margin back up. But no, this has been a really fun game. I thought there was a time there in the first overtime where Texas A&M led by 5 points, and you thought, okay, they're really going to start pulling away here and win this game. But Texas, they're playing hard. They know they're right there on the bubble, and certainly a win today over Texas A&M, who is safely in the bracket, that would do wonders for them and where they're at right now in terms of bracket projection. So they're playing hard. They want to win this game, and 3:41 left. Texas A&M at the free throw line. We'll see how it all ends.
I thought he would, and it was very well delivered. Michael Wilbon at the end of PTI with very moving words about John Feinstein, and he captured it perfectly. He said he had known him since he was 20 when he was an intern at the Washington Post. The summer before that, Feinstein had interned at the Post.
Wow, that's incredible. I knew their friendship went back a long way. I don't know if I knew it went back that far. So, we talked about it earlier. Just a really sad day for the sports world, and obviously with that connection, I know it was a sad day on PTI earlier today. And I saw, I think, people taking pictures of A10. I think he was supposed to be at the A10 tournament and had a spot there. Welcome John Feinstein to A10. Wow. Championship week, and so it sounds like, again, don't have all of the news on it yet, but sounds like it was pretty sudden. So definitely thoughts and prayers out to his family and the sports world.
We didn't have time. We will maybe next week. Should have gotten Greg's thoughts on it, because Greg going to college there at the University of Maryland, College Park, and you just take the Green Line, actually from Greenbelt, Maryland, into the district, and I know he read the post like I did in Washington religiously. I mean, you know, to get the three we've talked about, and the number one track rider in the country, Andrew Byer, and Thomas Boswell on baseball. It was just, I mean, it was something to read every day. Just
absolutely
great sports sections ever.
Absolutely. And so definitely some sad news. I want to run through some of these games that have taken place today, maybe that we haven't been able to touch on yet. Mentioned earlier, Duke 8-point win over Georgia Tech. Cooper Flagg went down with an injury. He returned to the bench. Brett, did you say they listed him as questionable for tomorrow's game against North Carolina?
The report.
So, the x-rays came back negative, so that's definitely a good sign for him. I'm going to stand by it. I say you hold him out until at least the round of 32. I would not get anywhere close to playing him, especially if I'm his agent. I would be very adamant about you are sitting and you are not playing at all. Houston, 77-68 win over Colorado. Early in that game, it felt like Houston would be able to name the score, but Colorado put up a good fight, keeping that relatively close. St. John's, they get a 78-57 win over Butler. Really good game earlier today. BYU 96-92 over Iowa State. They have played some really close, really fun games this season, and it ended with a BYU win in the quarterfinals. Oregon, they get a 72-59 win over Indiana. Definitely not the way Indiana wanted their season to end, sitting squarely on the bubble. You mentioned earlier Marquette with a 2-point win over Xavier. Obviously, Ole Miss and their win. North Carolina, 68-59 win over Wake Forest. We've talked a lot about the Texas A&M game, but some other games getting ready to start, and this feels like, you said, we talked about it during the break, but the longer this game keeps going, it could cause a little bit of a delay for the night session up in Nashville.
It sure could. They're getting almost into their window. Well, I mean, those teams would be warming up now. They're going to have to kick back the start time. Texas with the big three, 87-85. Texas with 2 minutes to play in Nashville. Two classics today in Nashville. And the last game last night was real good. And boy, I'd go to some SEC tournaments some years that none of the games were any good.
Oh, man, yeah.
You got to have a pretty good finish with Arkansas, South Carolina yesterday, Texas and Vandy. Pretty good. LSU and Mississippi State wasn't, and OU and Georgia was last night, and both today.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it, the idea of how good will this conference tournament be, and you got a couple good ones yesterday, but these first two on Thursday have definitely lived up to what we wanted to see. And I mean, if we get two games anywhere close what these first two games have been in the night session, it's going to be a fantastic Thursday in Nashville.
All right, tomorrow the Tigers will tip at noon, so we're going to do Tiger Bankroll right now. You ready?
I guess so.
Memphis 9.5-point favorite. Ooh. And I've already gotten Darian's pick and Connor's pick, and they split. Okay. Connor 19-12 on the year. Of the 31 picks, he's picked the Tigers 20 times. He's picked against the Tigers 11 times. Make it 12. He goes against the Tigers, takes Wichita State for 200 plus the 9.5. Darian takes the Tigers for 100, lays the points for the year. He's 21-10 picking Tiger games. He's picked the Tigers 19 times. He's picked against 12 times. I have picked against the Tigers 20 times.
Woo, I was about to say, it's been a lot.
A lot. I've picked the Tigers. I've gone with them 11 times. I am 15-16, the record the Tigers are against the point spread this year. And I take Wichita State for 45 tomorrow. You are 13-18 on the year. You've taken the Tigers 23 times. Alumni Association.
Yeah, I guess so.
And you've gone against them 8 times.
I regret it. Can I say that? I don't think the Alumni Association would be happy to hear me say that.
Well, your dues just went up. Well, you can say it.
Okay. Well, I guess you there's some consequences when you make those decisions. I'm going to go with Wichita State here, and I'm going to take them, let's go 150 on the Shockers.
150, and this is the time to watch your money because we got to keep money.
Right.
You lose, you're down to 305.
Don't love that.
You'll really have to watch it.
I'm really just playing to not, hit zero. Before the last game at least. Well, we don't know in the last game, so you really can't hit zero.
Brian, and that's one of the compelling things about this time of year for everyone.
Yeah.
You have max 2 losses left in you? Mm-hmm. Some just one?
Yeah. For a lot of teams, next time that L pops up on the board, see you next year.
That's it.
So, and speaking of that, I mean...
Best reality show in
sports. It's been fantastic. And speaking of losses and seasons coming to an end, did you see Arthur Kaluma last night? Arthur Kaluma is now at Texas, but was at Kansas State. But Kansas State, they go out there and lose last night. I mean, just a really disappointing season for Kansas State. And that was a team that, I know we've talked about it with Kevin Sweeney a lot, went out there and paid a whole lot of money to several guys, including Coleman Hawkins, who came in from Illinois. Did you see him post-game last night? I mean, in tears about kind of what he's gone through, obviously transferring to Kansas State. The criticism, a ton. It's been fairly well documented about some of the pushback he's gotten.
I'm sorry for that. I am. But, and always for a long time, you don't really just go in deep on a college player because, they're not being paid.
Sure.
But now they are. I don't know that you go in that deep.
No.
But they have to understand the deal has changed. They wanted to be treated like pros and like adults.
Yeah.
And they're getting it for good and for ill.
Yeah, and Omar Ballo today with Indiana said very similar things kind of about what he feels like he's gone through. I felt like last night Coleman Hawkins was more just disappointment in his play in the season and really wanted to go farther. But there was a little bit of the social media behind that. Today, Omar Ballo was straight up, we go out there and lose a game, and I'm getting DMs from everybody. But
and the gambling aspect.
Sure, absolutely. And in the case of Coleman Hawkins, I mean, I remember when he was in the transfer portal and him putting out on social media, hey, if you want me to go to your team, here's my Venmo. Let's see which fan base wants me the most. And so, I mean, there's part of it where, if you're going to do that, if you're going to put that out there and say, hey, come at me, then now obviously
it's all fun and games. You miss a big free throw.
Sure. And obviously, there's definitely a line there. But it is we're seeing it a lot now with NIL and with social media and with a lot of things kind of coming into play now. the game's changing, and you're seeing that reaction from a lot of guys when that season comes to an end.
And when it is your job, just like in any job, you can have people upset at you.
Sure, absolutely. And so we're seeing that right now come to play in college athletics. 30 seconds left here in Nashville, in Texas, up by 4. Feeling pretty good if you're the Longhorns right now. I mean, still a lot of time, but you get a stop here, and then maybe you can seal this if you're the Longhorns.
Also, breaking news right now: De'Aaron Fox out for the year, broken ring finger, and he is the big game winner in that Saturday night of the questionable lineups.
Yes, the questionable lineups. What was a big loss for the Grizzlies. But no, I think that's probably a good idea. I saw that flash across the ticker right after you were saying that, and it makes sense. There was that trade to get.
I think I'm just a little ahead.
I think you are. You're just maybe a second ahead of me. But that trade for De'Aaron Fox was not a trade for this year. That was a trade for the future, and let's get that point guard.
Let Castle develop, get a little more in the draft, Wemby.
With Wemby, and look here in 2-3 years, what we can do as a team. And I'm completely fine with shutting him down and saying let's just get ready for next year, because nothing was going to change what happened this year. I mean, he's a great player, but he's not affecting anything for this year.
No more Grizzlies San Antonio games this year, though.
How about that? So
we're done.
You couldn't have the benefit of his season-ending injury. You had to have him hit that dagger to beat you. But definitely some NBA news there as we need to get to another break here. Looks like Texas is going to go to the free throw line and try to maybe get a little closer to putting this game away. Up 1 right now over Texas A&M with 22 seconds left in overtime at number 2. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
March is known for its madness. This year, the madness means money for Sports 56 listeners. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM will be giving away $98.50 a day for as long as the University of Memphis stays alive in the NCAA basketball tournament. That's right. When the Tigers win, more listeners win. Every time the Tigers advance, more Sports 56 listeners will be putting cash in their pocket. Listen to the Sports 56 morning, halftime, and Sports Time once the brackets are announced. As long as the Tigers are in the tournament, one of the shows will be giving away $98.50 each day. Once the Tigers are out, the cash is out too. So we're on the Tigers. Keep winning and keep listening to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for your chance to win some of that cash. The Sports 56 and 98.5 FM Tiger Cash Giveaway is brought to you by Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Home Inspector, Valve Equipment, and Buster's Butcher, Buster's Liquor.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom-made solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Owning your own home is wonderful, and buying your own home can be wonderfully easy if your agent is Margie O'Neill of Remax Expert. Margie has over 20 years of experience in helping folks just like you find their new home. Buyer's market, seller's market, up and down markets, Margie has sold them all with a dedication that makes it easy for you to buy your new home. Margie O'Neill at Remax.net. That's MARGIE.ONEAL at Remax.net. Or call 901-685-6000 for your new home. Margie O'Neill makes it easy.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes some special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
New showroom, less wait for service, and the greatest deals during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Gossett Hyundai South Mount Moriah. 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited, we Gossett 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited, we Gossett 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience 25,260, and 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard 26,353. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So don't miss the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Gossett Hyundai South, 2660 Mount Moriah. Online anytime, HyundaiMountMoriah.com. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 25,160. Elantra RU 821,411. MSRP 28,780. Convenience SU 856,185. MSRP 27,020. Sonata RU 415,696. MSRP 29,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned is Texas gets the win, a 94-89 win in double OT over Texas A&M. So Texas, I think they just showed it up there. They're the third 13 seed to make it past or to the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament. So Texas stays alive. I think you got to feel good about where they are now in terms of bracketology, but let's take a step back and look at the head coach, because this could be a little awkward for Texas now. It sounds like, anywhere you look, anything you read, anything you listen to, it sounds like Texas is ready to move on from Rodney Terry. We know why he got the job. It was a bad situation. You just got to throw somebody in there. Rodney Terry was the guy. But when you're Texas, you need a little bit better than what Rodney Terry has done in his time as the Longhorns head coach. Sounds like they're ready to make the move, but now he has them in the quarterfinals for the SEC tournament. It sounds like he's going to make it to the NCAA tournament. Let him get hot. Let him win a couple games. It can be very awkward in Austin.
Pull a Kevin Keats.
I was about to say, it sounds very familiar with Kevin
You're a
Keats.
booster, you'll pay for that. We can fire him in a year.
That's right. Yeah, just wait another
year.
year.
Texas.
Well,
they
got the money.
They're printing money. And that game tomorrow will be Rick Barnes against his old school.
Yeah,
School he took to a Final Four. Rick Barnes against the Texas Longhorns. It should be a lot of fun. What I learned today, the thing called the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
They're not moving forward in plans for their new ballpark. End this now, man. End it now. Here's what you got to do. A's and the Rays, contract them. Go to them and say, look, you're not worth anything because the value's the ballpark. You don't have one. Neither of y'all have a ballpark. Major League Baseball will pay both $400 million. And then you tap into the other 28 owners for $15 million each for another $200. Take your $400 and go away. Contract these two blights on the baseball scene.
Yeah, it's a messy situation for
then
both of them.
Then put Milwaukee back in the American League. Put Arizona in the American League. Have the 14-team National League, 14-team American League. No divisions. Top 6 go to the playoffs.
Well, you can't do that. I mean, the commissioner, he's retiring in 6 years. He wants to expand. I mean, he's got to expand before he's done. Was it 2029? So, 4 more years? He's got to expand.
I promise you. If Manfred ever goes into Cooperstown, I'm not responsible for anything I do or say.
Well, I honestly do not blame you on that. What I could have done without, we've talked about it a couple times today, but the passing of John Feinstein, just an unbelievable writer, an unbelievable storyteller, an unbelievable career that he had. It sounds like this was somewhat sudden based on kind of everything I've seen. I haven't seen a ton, but just what I've seen since the announcement of his passing, it sounds like it was fairly sudden. But I mentioned it earlier, growing up as a kid, reading some of the fiction books that he wrote, and then as I grew up reading a ton of that nonfiction stuff that he wrote, reading his columns, reading his work at the Washington Post. Just an incredible writer, an incredible storyteller, and definitely a huge loss to the sports world today.
And the irony is rich. I mean, Mr. March, right here.
That's right.
In March, I could have done without seeing that much zone defense in an NBA game last night.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 1-3-1. It was, I don't know if it was ever 2-1-2.
That
but
kept you up last night. I mean, I can tell. That did a number on you,
bugged
seeing
me.
that zone.
And I'm thinking, does that take travel?
Well, I don't know. Might.
I can't imagine a playoff team resorting to that.
I just don't see. I think it was just the perfect time. You got the Jazz. They're not really playing for anything. Jaren's out, so kind of force Ja to do something for you. With Jaren, you can't play
last night. I slept better. That bugged me.
I can tell.
I played zone in 7th grade basketball.
Well, yes. Well, heck, what was it, Duke, where John Shire's like, half our guys don't even know how to play zone if we tried to throw it out there. I mean,
John Cal. Well, I've really mentioned Cal a lot today. One of his great quotes here, he mixed metaphors. He said, "I'll never play one stinking down of zone."
I love it. Quickly, where are you beaming tonight?
SEC. Just give me this, and it's been great. Everywhere's good.
Oh, it's so good. Beam me to noon tomorrow. Memphis kicks off the American Conference Tournament against Wichita State. Seats definitely available. I'll be honest, Brett. I'll make this quick. I was watching it today. I turned it on for the end of the Wichita State game. After it was done, they showed Wichita State's coach walk across the court. I thought it was from before the game. I thought it was like a pregame shot. It was not. It was a live shot.
Shots were not favorable.
Yeah, no, they were not favorable at all. But we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. Memphis travels really well, and so I'm sure they'll have a lot of people there to support. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy all the action tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
All aboard, football fans. The Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the Boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets.